656, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis with Dave Woloshin, weekday mornings from 10 to 11. It's time for Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus and Memphis. Here are your hosts, Red Star Sportsworthy and Brian Davis.
Welcome into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. Landon Schmidt producing. We're Sports Time. We're with you for the next 3 hours as we get you ready for the national championship game tonight between Florida and Houston. Incredible Final Four. We'll talk a lot about it. We'll preview tonight's game between these two teams. A lot to get into this afternoon. Tigers get their first pickup out of the transfer portal yesterday, so plenty to get to. We also got to start getting ready for the Masters this weekend, as we will talk a lot about that throughout the week. But, Brett, how are you this afternoon?
Brian, I'm doing well. Happy Masters Week.
Happy Masters Week. Happy National Championship Monday. It is it's a big week and a big day.
Happy sunshine is out.
Finally, it feels like. I didn't know if we would ever see sunshine again, but here we are. So that's,
I knew we would, but I was getting a little bit shaky there for a second.
Yeah, a little bit. Is this ever going to stop? But it, I guess, finally did stop.
Nice to see Noah.
Yes,
he floated by.
Give him a wave. Bye.
Said hello to everybody right here at the Easter season. I don't know if he's really got anything to do with the Easter season. I know my Old and New Testament a little bit better than that to know that he's really not an Easter figure. But it was nice to see him right here as we approach it. But, Brian, I say not all the time, but through the years, whether it's whatever it is, campaigns or markets or crime or anything around us, I always say that we're the escape from that. Sure. We don't dote on it. We hardly ever refer to anything. We stick to sports, and I'm gonna most always stick to sports because that's what I'm here for.
Sure,
that's what I'm built for. And when I say we're an escape, a lot of times I say in that it's also escape for us at 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock every day, whatever's going on in my world. And my world's mostly pretty darn good. It is, but I have things just like everybody else, but I don't bring them here.
Sure.
And I hope I don't think I ever have. I hope I never do, whether it's loss or hurt or whatever it is. But I can assure you, after my Thursday and Friday of me being out and Landon so much and to the management of this radio station so much for allowing me to, I need today and I need this. I need the escape. Yeah. I have to escape back to sports because at 7:15 last Wednesday night, it got real.
Yep.
And I had some damage and spent most of Thursday night and, well, all of Thursday and into Friday dealing with roofers, painters, floor people, sheetrock people, attic insulation people, adjusters, and that was before the Saturday monsoon.
That's right. Yeah.
my house looked like Pickwick.
Yeah.
I looked out. I thought, I always wanted a house with a deck overlooking the lake. Yeah. Well, I had one for about
a canoe or something.
I had one for about an hour on Saturday, and like everybody else after this weekend, we all kind of need a relief from the constant weather and and on our TVs and the very fraught times that we had over the weekend and really since last Wednesday. But that's why I'm glad to be here today to talk about what I love, and that's the world of sports, and to talk about our Cardinals scored 20 runs over. You want the good news or the bad news?
I guess I'll take the good news first.
Scored 21 runs over the weekend playing the Red Sox.
Yep.
Bad news got swept.
Yeah, and gave up a whole lot of runs. So,
oh man,
I'll be honest, Brett.
I thought it was low rent for the Red Sox to run it up on the Cardinals last night and go for two when they could have just kicked the extra point.
I didn't see it. So good for them. I turned it off in like the second inning. I said, that's enough baseball for the day.
I stayed with it because I wanted to hear that national announce crew, Cone, Ravitch, and Eddie Perez, who also said would be a big league manager. Eduardo Perez, and I loved his dad. And but I wanted to hear their commentary about the Cardinals and kind of where things stood, but it was, man, they got roughed up at the Monster, didn't they?
They sure did. They sure did. And, coming back after such a great start, we were going, maybe we were wrong about this team. Maybe we do like the lineup. And then coming back down to reality very quickly.
Yeah, and Ryan Helsley had trouble yesterday.
Sure did.
Through 80 – no, Miles Michaelis threw 81 pitches yesterday.
Yeah.
Only 2 pitches were swung at and missed.
Well, yeah, he did not look good, but and Helsley did not look good either. But
there were some in the day on these airwaves that would say after you score 20 runs at Fenway Park at the Monster and you get swept, the Cardinals are never going to win another game.
Well, they might not. And now a quick turnaround. You guys see the Pirates now, and they had their own issues over the weekend, but that was a little more off the field issues. But we'll see. Maybe they can get back to a little bit of winning this afternoon. I guess more this evening.
And since the new ballpark in Pittsburgh, since it opened, I think it opened in 2001, and it's great, PNC Park. Of all the new that look old, it's my favorite that I've been to. I haven't been to them all, but it's great. And I went summer of 2006, the year they hosted the All-Star game. It's great. It's always been the tonic for the Cardinals. Whatever's going wrong, get to PNC, get to Pittsburgh,
and get right,
and get it righted. But I don't know if anything can right these birds.
Yeah, I mean, tomorrow you get Paul Skeens, so it's
better win tonight.
Not fun. You better start it off with a win. But yeah,
I thought the 2 games were classic Saturday.
Oh, I mean, one of the best Final Four that we've seen in a really long time. Maybe up there forever. I'm
sorry, 'cause I don't like doing this. I don't like the open-ended stuff. I like to answer my own questions before I ask them, but I didn't have time to do the research. The margin Saturday were 2 points and 6 points, right?
That's right, yeah.
8 total. I did say 7 at a semifinal.
I mean, it's got to be. I mean, that is.
Don't know that for a fact.
No.
Somebody want to do the research for me?
Yeah.
Me being lazy, go right ahead.
Yeah, if someone out there wants to get the old calculator out and go through all the history, but no, 6 and 3, so 9 points.
Okay.
And so, I mean, it's got to be. It's got to be up there. If it's not,
the research on it would be easy. You're just kidding.
Sure.
I mean, you see one game in the margin.
Well, that's
10.
true.
Well,
Yeah,
you keep going.
That's
keep flipping the pages.
That is true. So you can knock out a lot.
I'll do that tonight during the game.
Okay. All right.
I need it for my own sanity.
I'll leave that to you. But no, I mean, just 2 incredible games. I mean, the way both of these teams were able to fight back, the 2 teams they'll play tonight, how they were able to fight back both trailing at the half and both, down double digits and able to come back and both get wins. Just really, really impressive for both these teams, and it's going to make for a great game tonight.
I've said a lot through the years. I'm not much on a coach out coaching the other one. I think every time I say this, then I go to an example of somebody I think that was out coached.
Yeah.
And I'm not much on the C word, joke. That C word, joke.
Yeah.
You I don't think you had any choke in the first game, but I think you did have Todd Golden down the stretch. Just punch up a few things that worked a little better than Bruce Pearl. I don't think it was out coaching. I thought just some things worked out. That second game,
man,
CHOKE.
Yeah. No, it definitely was. And I mean, you had
in the last minute and a half, Kelvin Sampson ran rings on John Shira.
Oh, really, that entire second half. I mean, just one of the
truly, Bryant.
One of the best in-game coaches, maybe of all time. I mean, Kelvin Sampson, what he can do, making adjustments, changing things on the fly.
Cat was grinding, wasn't he?
I mean, man, it was that game was fantastic. I mean, over that last 8 minutes or so, 8:02, Houston outscores Duke 25-8. I mean, that's just incredible. Only one made field goal by Duke in the final 10.5 minutes of the game. That is, you may never see that again in a Final Four game.
Brian, you know that I can be pretty particular about stuff. I hate markouts on lineup sheets or on my calendar.
Sure.
and I hate it on my bracket for the first time, I'm going to say ever. I did it Saturday. I put the X on your bracket by Houston and had highlighted on brackets Duke. I thought it was over.
Well, I don't think you're the only one that thought it was over. I thought it was over, and I was rooting for Houston.
Did Duke think it was over?
I think Duke might have thought it was over. I mean, especially with, I don't want to single out any of but you have, some young guys on that team. You're up 14. You're going to the national championship game. You just got to run out the final 8 minutes. You've pretty much done a really nice job, especially, early in that second half to kind of jump out and get that lead. You really controlled the game early in the second half. And, looked like, Houston was struggling to shoot the ball in that first half. And so, I think maybe a little bit of, all right, let's look ahead to Florida and let's get ready for the championship game.
I want our listeners to let us know at Sissy's Log Cabin text line 901-360-8255. Choke, the kinder C word, collapse, or comeback. A real kind C word.
Yeah. I like all the C words in there. I would I'll be nice and I'll say it's just comeback. I'll give all the credit to Houston for what they were able to do defensively, just locking up and just making it impossible for Duke.
But it takes two to tango, doesn't it?
Sure.
The big man for Houston's got to step to the free throw line and nail both of them string music, doesn't he?
He sure does, and he sure did.
I mean, if both of those rattle around and fall off, then there's no comeback.
That's right. And then you had the poor free throw shooting on the other side for Duke. I mean, it felt like, Tyrese Proctor went up to the line a couple times. Con Knippel went up to the line and split some free throws. I mean, guys that when I saw those guys going to the line, I go, okay.
You only get 3 1-and-1s in a game.
That's right. And, I thought that they were going to make those count, and they just did not. On the other side, Houston sends a couple guys to the free throw lines that are 60% free throw shooters, and they nailed their free throws.
I can tell you the point that I worked my magic with the highlighter and the red Sharpie was after the Houston player touched the ball and got the technical. I mean that was it. The game's over.
Yep, it felt like it.
Houston kind of once again walk of shame, leave the Final Four on Sunday, leave the Final Four city on Sunday, and the national love fest that would have ensued for Duke. It was awfully poignant that most of the day Saturday, it was almost like we had a fixed camera the whole day on the Mike and Mickey Krzyzewski view. I told you early last week, even before I was out Thursday and Friday, you could play a drinking game of just when they show them, and you would be at Baptist Hospital with renal kidney failure, and it was, and then all of a sudden, poof, it just went away, didn't it?
That's right. Yeah. No, we didn't see.
Went away almost as fast as the color of hair dye they share.
Well, yeah, you're right about that. No, I mean, you saw it when everything was good, when everything was rosy. I mean, every second you
had Grant Hill on the announce team going, oh, that look on Coach's face. Somebody needs to tell him Duke's ahead. And you could hear Grant Hill, I think, on the air want to cry.
Yep. And then
ESPN had to throw it back to the Duke cheerleaders, Billis, and to the two J's, and they looked like they wanted to hurl.
Yeah, I mean, it was if you're a Dookie, that was one of those games where it causes you to hurl.
And if you're not a Dookie, everybody else in the world was pulling against you.
Oh yeah. I mean, that was the ultimate. Everybody, unless you went to school there,
come together.
You
full
were
Duke
going
hate come together day, wasn't it?
Houston, it was. I mean, everybody was rooting for Houston. It felt like that first game was a little bit split. Okay, Auburn, Florida, but that second game, it was everybody against Duke.
I'll get into this more as the day and weeks and off season goes. I hate it for Bruce Pearl. I do, and I'm afraid that might be his last best shot. Because he really had that older team put together for really this run after last year's heartbreak in the first round of Yale. And now this for you. You get he does the unbelievable and gets Auburn to 2 Final Fours. That can never be discounted. Should always be glamorized, the coaching job that he's done on the Plains. But he gets them to the semifinals that he could have, should have won in 2019 on Saturday, and certainly this last Saturday could have, should have against Florida, and it would have set up in the finals to win it all. In 2019, beat Texas Tech, and this year beat Houston. How many more shots are you going to get it at that?
Nah, maybe none. I mean, that might be it. And it kind of feels like, I mean, you're right.
Might be back in it next year, but I don't think so.
Maybe, but you're right. I mean, the way this roster was constructed, where it was a lot of older guys, there was a few younger, super talented guys, but, you had Janai Broom, who you went out and got and has been, in this system now for a couple years, and, arguments between him and Cooper Flagg all year of who's player of the year in college basketball, who's the best player in college basketball. Those guys don't come around every day, and so, maybe a missed opportunity there for Auburn.
I had that same foreboding feeling after what happened in 2008 to the Tigers. And for anybody who thinks I'm being mean to Bruce Pearl or being mean to Auburn or being mean to the Tigers, I have voiced it. I had the same feeling this last year about Ole Miss football. If not this year, then when? How many times are you going to have that kind of team again?
That's right.
We shall see. So the foreboding is equal to a lot of people.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. But we're going to talk a ton about the Final Four, about tonight's national championship game. But let me go ahead and set up today's show before we get to top and not top story of the day. At 3:30, our next segment, Colin Cody from Channel 3 Sports. He's going to join us to talk the Masters. He covered a handful of Masters while working down there in Georgia. So we'll talk a lot of Masters. We'll also get his thoughts on the Grizzlies as we're to the final week of the regular season in the NBA. Grizzlies right there in a traffic jam in the Western Conference. We'll talk a lot about the Grizzlies this afternoon. Make sure you go give
If you ain't rubbing, you ain't racing.
Well, that is true, and it's coming down to the wire.
Boogity boogity. That's all the NASCAR terms I know.
Well, you got overtime yesterday. How about that?
We did.
Yeah,
sure
did. You know how I know that? Because I was trying to watch the UFL game that was happening after the NASCAR. So what an afternoon for Fox. You get NASCAR and then you get UFL. I mean, that is a great Sunday afternoon. But we'll talk to Colin in our next segment. 3:45, we'll talk more about the Grizzlies, their weekend. They beat the Pistons Saturday night, 109-103. We'll talk about that game. Really good performance from Desmond Bane after struggling against Miami. Zach Edey with 21 rebounds in that game against the Detroit Pistons. We'll talk about the Grizzlies at 3:45. 4 o'clock, David Cobb. He's down in San Antonio for the Final Four. He'll join us. We'll talk a lot of college basketball. As always, David Cobb joins us from CBS Sports. 4:30, Shelby Mast from BracketWag.com. He'll join us. We'll talk a lot of college basketball. We'll talk about the Final Four and the national championship game, our final visit with Shelby Mast. So that'll be a ton of fun at 4:30. 4:45, we get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, DeMichael Cole, the Grizzlies beat writer over at the Commercial Appeal. He'll join us. We'll talk a whole lot of Grizzlies, about the game on Saturday, Ja Morant and his buzzer beater the game before against Miami, and this final week of the regular season for the Memphis Grizzlies. 5:30, this will be fun. In anticipation for tonight's game, Houston and Florida. Big four all time for Houston and Florida. Nick Calathis on either of y'all's list? A former Grizzly.
No, former Grizzly.
No.
I do have a former Grizzly in my Florida Gator foursome, though.
All right, so we will get to that at 5:30. That should be fun.
I got a former Kansas City Omaha King in my foursome for Houston.
All right. Well, Houston was really weird. You could either go back to a very prominent time for Houston basketball, or you go with kind of current.
Nothing.
Yeah, it's either like if you want to take a swing on a current guy, then maybe like a in recent history guy.
Rob Gray got consideration from me.
That's true. Yeah.
Didn't make it, but
I did look at Rob Gray. But yeah, it's either that one era at Houston or nothing really for Houston basketball. So that'll be fun at 5:30, 5:45. We'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. It's pool time, and Family Leisure is already booking pool installs for 2025. Buy now and get on the list for your pool installation. 2024 pools starting at $19.99 installed. Liners starting at $299. All pool accessories up to 20% off, and 5 to 6 person hot tubs starting at $69.99. Swim spas and cold plunge tubs, they're $2,000 off, and don't forget about the patio furniture. Patio furniture sets up to 50% off on select sets. And mention this ad and get free installation only at Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40.
We are Sports Time. We're with you until 6 o'clock with Landon Schmidt producing. He's Bryant, I'm Brett, and we want you to join us by texting or calling 901-360-8255. That's the Sissy's Log Cabin text and talk line. All our guests will appear at 901-360-8255 at the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. Always studios in this hour every day, brought to you by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Offers on all 2025 first and second maintenance services. Call them at 901-334-9673, but stop by the only Lexus dealership in Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2025 flagship LS500. You'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and that makes for the safe luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day, it's got to be the national championship game tonight on CBS, earlier than we're used to. A 7:50 tip time on CBS. Florida and Houston, both teams enter this game 35-4 on the season. How did both these teams get here? It was by comeback wins in the Final Four. For Florida, in the second half, they shot 50% from the field. On the other side, held Auburn to only 33% from the field, forcing a lot of turnovers. 12 turnovers they forced in the second half, resulting in 14 points off turnovers, and held Janai Broome, the guy we just talked about, was in conversation all year for best player in the country, player of the year, held him to only 3 points in the second half. Walter Clayton Jr., he's been so impressive really all season long, but especially in the NCAA tournament. He was really good in that game. 34 points, including 5 3-pointers, as Florida gets the win 79-73 over Auburn. In that second game, Brett already had the red marker out, Xing Houston out, as they were down 14 points about midway through, a little further than midway through in the second half, down 14 with 8:17 left in the second half. After that, Houston outscored the Blue Devils 25-8 over the final 8 minutes and 2 seconds. Duke went 4.5 minutes without any points in that time. Houston cut that lead from 14 points to 5 points. And I mentioned it earlier, over the last 10.5 minutes, Duke made only 1 field goal in that final 10.5 minutes of the game. Gave Houston the opportunity to come back and win that game 70-67. LJ Cryer, really good, 26 points, 5 rebounds. Cooper Flagg, he was really good in that game as well. 27 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks, but obviously getting a lot of talk. A foul at the end of the game that was called on him that sent Houston to the free throw line, and then the missed shot down the stretch to give Duke a chance to win that game. But a really fun game. Both these games, awesome to watch, and I think sets up for a really fun game. Kim Pom has Houston winning tonight. The books have Florida as a 1.5-point favorite, so it really feels like this game could go either way.
It was the crowning glory moment for all.
I think we're having trouble with Brett.
Did you think?
Oh, no, there you go. We lost you there for a second. Say that again, Brett.
That was the crowning moment for all Duke hatred to come together,
right,
for Duke to be on the bad side of Iffy Hall.
That's right. Yes, it was like that. That was the moment where you're like, oh, Duke haters win.
And yes, at home, you know what I was doing? On your head. On your head.
I love it.
To Cooper Flagg. My top story, 2 teams. One will be champion around 10 o'clock tonight. One shiny moment, confetti cannon, the veteran head coach against the young head coach. Probably the last best chance for the veteran. The young head coach is going to get plenty. Houston off that comeback against Duke. Florida had to come back against Auburn, but it was over a more graduated time than in the last seconds like Houston did. 7 Final Fours for Houston, no titles. In the Final Four in part of 4 straight decades of first decade of the teens, 20s of the 21st century. They've been there a lot and won it a couple times.
Yeah.
Duke up 6 with the ball with 1:14 to play and lose by 3 in regulation. Y'all tell us. Choke, collapse, or comeback?
Yeah, the 3 C's. Which was it in that game?
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day, the Tigers get their first commitment out of the transfer portal. Quante Berry, a redshirt sophomore from Temple, committed yesterday afternoon to Penny Hardaway and the Tigers. Quante Berry started his career at Providence, redshirted for a year, and then transferred to Temple, where he spent the last 2 years. Only started 1 game as a freshman, started 21 of 28 games he appeared in this season for the Owls. In those 28 games, averaged 10.5 points per game, 4.3 rebounds, 2.1 assists, 1.3 steals, shot about 46% from the field, 33.8% from 3, and 69.7% from the free throw line. Had 2 really good games against the Tigers this year. The first one at Temple, scored 19 points, 3 rebounds. The second one at Memphis, 16 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, and 4 steals. A guy that still has 2 years of eligibility left, 6'4", 185 pounds, really active defender, like really good on the defensive end. There were a couple times I was going back watching those games against Memphis where he was guarding PJ Haggerty, and there were possessions where PJ Haggerty did not touch the ball because of the defense Quante Berry was playing on him. He is a guy, I mentioned it, 33.8% from 3. That got a little better in conference play, but this is a guy that likes to finish at the rim, but will knock down catch and shoot threes when he has the opportunity. I think a good pickup for the Tigers, a guy that made a huge jump from his redshirt freshman year to redshirt sophomore year. We'll see what he can do now in a Tiger uniform.
And my not top story ties into that, and I hope Quante Berry has better crowds to play in front of next year with the official scan count out Friday of the real crowd, not the tomfoolery of the box score. And it was grim. We knew it would be because we had had it every game and didn't always mention it, but would sometimes, especially when I would hear people say, the magic is back. There was 16,000 at FedEx Forum. No, we weren't even close to that all year. And I think there's no better measure of popularity in sports than by your attendance. That shows you how popular you are. So if you're not having attendance like that, and there's no penny mania with advancement in the tournament, if you're not drawing and you're not advancing in the tournament, just how long is this shelf life for Penny Hardaway? 7 years, crowds dwindling, no advancement. What are we doing?
It's a good question. It is a really good, but those numbers, I mean, it's every year. It's an every year occurrence where we wait and, people, want to puff up the numbers, and then we have that story. Jonah Dillon, a fantastic job with that story Friday afternoon, and the real numbers are not as flattering as we thought they were during the regular season. But that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to our first break. When we return, we're talking the Masters, we're talking the Grizzlies with Colin Cody.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56.
It is too. I am not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that April is just one of the great months to sit outside at Central Barbecue.
I didn't say there weren't other great months to sit outside at Central Barbecue locations.
And there are a lot of them, and they all have outdoor seating.
I don't think you had to interrupt me for that. What I'm saying is April is particularly great because it's the first month where we can sit outside in Memphis.
And South Haven?
Stop interrupting me. I was going to say South Haven.
No, you weren't. You always forget about South Haven.
I resent that.
Hey, I produce these. You want me to back the tape up?
No. It's still the best month to sit outside at Central Barbecue.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery instead of dependable service and no long-term contracts. With
96.3.
Jenkins Floors and More invites you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors in Orlando, Little Rock, and Cleveland, Mississippi specializes in flooring and carpeting, tile, partition shutters, and blinds. Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business. Listen each and every Sunday morning at 11 to join Ottawa Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawa is a PCUSA church located in Memphis. Sports 56 traffic.
Afternoon, I'm looking live at a crash over here on 240 westbound, just past Poplar. Again, it's involving 3 cars. Looks like it's going to be out here for just a little bit. It's already got traffic slow between Walnut Grove and Poplar on 240 going westbound. They were wrapping up a wreck earlier, just before you get out there into Fayette County on 40 going eastbound, just past 269. Weimer's Jewelry is your diamond engagement ring headquarters this bridal season that's just around the corner. Go see them this week at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now, back to Sports Time. Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus Service. Here are your hosts, Sports Worthy and Brian Davis.
Welcome back in Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you live and local inside our Family Leisure Studios. And joining us now, talk some Masters and the Grizzlies. Colin Cody from Channel 3 Sports. Go give him a follow on Twitter at Colin Z Cody. Colin, thanks so much for joining us. Obviously, Masters week, Grizzlies final week of the regular season, a lot going on. But before we get to the Grizzlies, let's talk a little bit about the Masters. I know this is an event that you've covered a handful of times when you were working down in Georgia. What's it like working the Masters when the entire country is paying attention to this golf course, this golf tournament? What's it like to be out there and cover this event?
Brian, thank you guys for having me on. It's one of my favorite weeks of the year, actually, and it's so funny because obviously if you haven't been to Augusta just any other week besides this one, it's just a small town. It reminds me like an Oxford, but just kind of more adult version of things. So this time of week, you start seeing all the private jets fly into Augusta Regional. Then they fly into Daniel Field, and as the practice rounds kind of go through before you get through the first round, it just takes on a whole new life. So it's a cool thing to see. It's kind of like watching let's say going down to the Grove and seeing a tailgate, and you seeing all the tent setters run out and claim their stake in the Grove, but it just happens gradually throughout the week down there in Augusta.
Colin, that's a really good comparison. Brian and I went to Oxford to a basketball game a couple of Saturdays ago, and it was the first time he had ever been, and I kind of did it intentionally. We parked at the inn at Ole Miss, and we walked up the hill, and we got there. I said, "That's it," and Brian said, "That's it." I said, "That's the Grove," and I'm sure that's the feeling for a lot of people if they drove down Washington Road today, 2 weeks from now in Augusta.
Absolutely. I mean, Brett, like driving down Washington Road and around that entire area by the golf club, it's so secluded, so private, and so hidden with the trees and the fences and everything. You would never notice it until you get to this week when you see nothing but all the Mercedes and the SUVs trying to pull into the golf course, and you're seeing all the drivers. I remember last year when I went last Friday. Well, I went last Friday in 2024, and I remember leaving the golf course, but trying to turn out of the Magnolia Lane with Colin Morikawa and Xander Schauffele, and they're just trying to beat the traffic. They got stuck in the traffic just like everybody else, and it's just one of those places. it's coveted. It's also just kind of reminds you how things are here with our championship with the FedEx St. Jude. You get this personal experience with these golfers, and it's kind of hard to put into fathom how close you can really get to them, especially when it comes to the practice round.
And now with the week before, with the women's amateur and the drive, chip, and putt, it's really 2 weeks of kind of intensive for y'all there locally and nationally and internationally covering the Masters. But it's the Super Bowl coming to town every spring, isn't it?
Every spring, and like you said, yeah, they started Champions Retreat for the women's amateur. That was last week. Then they play 2 rounds at Champions Retreat. They get a practice round Friday at Augusta National. So all the young ladies who do not get the chance to make the cut, like our very own Rachel Heck, she didn't make the cut this year, but I believe it was her 3rd or 4th time competing in the women's amateur. And then they play the final round Saturday. Then they roll into drive, chip, and putt on Sunday, and that's when you see a lot of the top guys go in and start to get the lay of the land. I know Scotty Scheffler, he played a round with his mother yesterday. Xander Schauffele played the back 9 yesterday, and they obviously wanted to do that intentionally because they also ran into some severe weather today too that canceled today's practice.
Yeah. What for you in covering the Masters that you did cover, the ones that you've been at? What's your favorite memory of the Masters?
Well, I got a couple. So for one, winning the media lottery and having the privilege to play that, that's something that I'll hold that forever. I was able to. I don't know how they knew, but they put me in Dr. Kerry Middlecoff's locker in the Champions locker room, and obviously being a Christian Brothers and an Ole Miss graduate, that was the highlight of my round for sure. Don't ask me what I shot that day.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, that doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I was running late
75. Go with it, Colin. Go with it. You shot 75.
Yeah. 70 with the Sunday pin. So that would be a top memory. But I think my first memory, obviously, I moved there and I didn't really grasp the concept of how big the tournament was. And my first one was 2019, and I remember being underneath the tree interviewing Tiger on Saturday, and he was saying, well, someone asked him the question, like, Tiger, how you feel? You're 3 off the lead. How you feeling going into Sunday? And Tiger Woods, just being Tiger Woods, I mean, he said, I feel pretty good. And lo and behold, he goes out and wins his most recent major. And obviously with all the injuries and everything now, just being there, that was probably the most special thing I've been a part of sports-wise. Just seeing and witnessing Tiger Woods go out and secure that victory and hugging Charlie as a young kid and his mom and his daughter as well. That was just something I'll never forget.
Yeah, 2019. And you had that feeling on Saturday, a little bit like Jack Nicklaus in 1986. It was going to take a great round, but the greats always seem to step up and do it. Our guest is Colin Cody from News Channel 3. He's on our Sitsy's Log Cabin guest line. We're also going to talk Grizzlies with him locally, but for years he worked in and covered the Masters every year at famed Augusta National. People watching around town, who's your favorite celeb you just kind of casually bumped into around town during Masters weeks through the years?
That's a good one, too. So I ran into Pau Gasol. He didn't know who I was. I was like, Mitch just loves you, pal. He's just like, okay. And who else would be great? I've seen –
I saw Pal there following John Rahm.
Yeah, he was following John Rahm. Jerry Rice, Joe Montana. Who else? Well, I will say this. This might not be a celebrity, but I think it was 2021. Shane Lowry was in contention. I think he had a share of the lead going into Sunday's final round. And after work, after we left the course, me and my sports director at the time, Brendan Robertson, he's out of the business. But we went to our local, bar or whatever, down the street from where we live, and in there is Shane Lowry's caddy, and he's going after it. He's feeling good about then going into Sunday, I mean, he bought everybody shots and everything. It was the whole thing. But then we wanted to make sure, how Shane did going into Sunday. He didn't play so well, and we actually caught like a glimpse of him getting kind of frustrated with his caddy. and we had a good reason why. We kind of felt like he had a time out in Augusta. So, yeah, you meet so many people, but that's one of the things about being there. It's not like you can stop and take a photo with a lot of these special people in the world. That you just have to admire the moment and take it for what it is. I actually probably the best moment will probably have been the one in November when there was no patrons, and we are sitting there on 18, and John Rahm was having a great round until he got to 18. He fired it up the fairway, and it came to the left side of the fairway. It popped off this guy's ankle, and next to the guy was Peyton Manning. And, we were able to have a conversation with Peyton just in awe about what we just saw and how John Rahm probably double bogey 18 and fell out of contention going into Sunday.
That's great stuff. Whether it was you playing that round on Monday or in competition, do you have a favorite hole?
I would say it would have to be 12 because I was so nervous when I was teeing off after seeing. So I played it the day after I saw. I think that was Tiger. He shot like an 8 on 12 that one time. I think that was 2021. He just kind of fell completely apart right there. I think he dunked in the water twice and kind of went into the front bunker and had to chip out. It was just a terrible hole. So I played it the next day, and I'm like, well, Tiger Woods, he just went to Lord knows what with this hole. I'm just going to try to get it across. And I was fortunate enough. I got it across on the par 3, 12 par 3. It was just short of the shrubs there, and I was able to chip down, and I got a bogey. But I was still on the green at 11. And so, yeah, I would say 12 just to have that claim to fame would be my favorite part about
you beat him double. You beat Tiger by double.
Sounds like you're better than Tiger. I mean,
no, hey, don't go spreading them lies.
Well, Colin, let's get to some Grizzlies. Obviously, back-to-back wins for them over Miami, over Detroit Saturday night, but we have not obviously talked with you since the coaching change. What did you make of Taylor Jenkins being let go with just, at the time, 9 games remaining in the season? And what have you seen since then from Coach Isolo as the interim?
I think I've spoken to a lot of people about this. We all have, right? I think as a conclusion, what I came down with, it was interesting timing, but probably the right move going into, the off season and how things have transpired since the All-Star break. He's the winningest coach of all time in Grizzlies history. But also, we all know with coaching, a lot of it determines and depends on the players that you have, too. So I think that since the coaching change, the players, not only have they had a different buy-in, but I think that they've taken more accountability upon themselves, knowing that, for a lot of these guys, Taylor Jenkins was their first and only NBA head coach. And actually experiencing the livelihood of someone getting ousted this close to the end of the season with so much at stake, I think it's taken up the level of competition and the spirit of the team somewhat more than a lot of people wouldn't expect. But also with Coach Isolo, I think he's kind of tried to make it as simple as possible for these guys to thrive in the system, because you're not going to go around and change things at this point in the season. Mm-hmm. But what he can do is highlight what people are really good at, and I think that's what we saw the other night with Zach Edey. I mean, Zach Edey, obviously, Detroit Pistons, they don't have a ton of size, especially with Jalen Duren not playing Saturday night. But when you have Zach Edey, who, he's the biggest person on the floor, he should have the opportunity to go grab 21 rebounds. Like that should be something he would thrive in a situation in the game plan like that against a smaller opponent. I've also seen that I've seen Desmond Bain just kind of be more vocal. Obviously, he had that incident with Santi Aldama, and they said everything was fine. You know, they're good friends and they're brothers on their bench. But I've seen Desmond Bain hold more guys accountable. Even though we had everyone was talking about the celebration from Ja last week, we've seen him kind of take his play up a notch or two, even though he was a late scratch in Detroit. But he's expected to be ready to go in Charlotte tomorrow night. So I think we're going to get the best of our big three. Do I think that we're going to get the best out of them at the same time in the same game? Yet to be determined. But when we've seen it before, Jaren and Dez, when they are on the court together and Ja's out, they play pretty well together. When Dez is struggling, Ja seems to kind of take it up, or Jaren, vice versa. So it's going to be a great test the last 4 games here. I mean, you're in a, 4-way tie for 8th. I've never seen anything like this before. Insane. I can't remember the last time we had a situation like this. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. Last thing for you, Colin. Give us your prediction this weekend for the Masters. Who you got winning?
That's a fun one. So, it's kind of been tough. Scotty's starting to play well. Vander, he has been dealing with injuries, so he hadn't been playing a ton this early part of the season. So, I want to see Rory at least win one. I mean, he's been playing pretty solid last couple of weeks, good finishes. I think this is the time for Rory to go ahead and claim his stake as a green jacket holder. I think, I mean, with Tyke, like, we need somebody to carry the road for this, PGA Live, however you want to look at it. I think Rory will be the next one to be able to join that room of the world's coveted golfers. Yeah. I hadn't really watched him live. I hate to say it this year. I don't know. I'm not a really huge fan of that product.
I've never watched. Never going to.
Yeah. It just seems kind of gimmicky, but I would love to see if they ever can come together. I would love to see the best play against the best. And I think, that's just taken away from the game all around, from the PGA and the Live. So hopefully we'll get past that.
Yeah, well, it should be a lot of fun this weekend at the Masters. Colin, as always, thanks so much for joining us, and let's do this again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Colin.
Thank you.
Colin Cody joining us to talk the Masters and the Grizzlies. Always fun catching up with him. Obviously, hearing his stories from covering the Masters. And his pick, Rory McIlroy. That'd be a fun one. A very polarizing golfer. You either love him or you hate her.
Dr. Carey's locker.
That's awesome. That's great. So, I mean, that was a really, really good story. So it'll be fun this weekend to watch the Masters and then see how the Grizzlies finish things up this week. Let's go ahead and get to another break. When we come back, we got to talk about the Grizzlies, what they did over the weekend, a 109-103 win over the Detroit Pistons. We'll do that next on Sports Time.
Top Gun is the largest indoor range in the Mid-South, but size isn't their only difference. Top Gun has the best instructors with over 300 years combined experience and classes all the way from first shot to master marksmanship. Plus, Top Gun is affordable. Total membership is just $48 a month. That's just $1.60 a day for a limited range time. Free gun rentals with purchase of ammo and members lounge access. Top Gun, 2770 Whitten Road and TopGunMemphis.com. Always ship with the best. Top Gun Memphis. Moving is stressful, but Black Tie Moving can take the worry out of the process. Whether you're moving across town or across country, moving your home or your office, or personal moving concierge from Black Tie Moving will work with you to design a moving that perfectly fits your budget and needs. And they're available 24/7 to answer any questions you have. Give Black Tie Moving a call at 901-316-6196 or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis to get your personal, no obligation quote from the moving experts at Black Tie Moving.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car is making this noise. Sometimes it's like And sometimes it's like, do you have a dash light on? Oh, yeah.
And we don't have to listen for clues. With the free Fix Finder service, we can read a check engine, ABS, or maintenance light to find the likely fix and even recommend a local shop if you need one.
So you don't need to hit a...
Not with Fix Finder. Free every hour.
Get in the zone, auto zone.
Restrictions apply.
Looking for sports in all the wrong places? Try the Ozark Sports. Fun, exciting, friendly company. All TVs, 24 tabs for all families. Happy hour 3 to 6 Monday through Friday. Music, video, and upscale living. IFC, daily specials, Orlando, and you found all your sports in one right place. Yours Box, Sports Bar, Lakeland's Town Square, Highway 70. Check Facebook, weekend music, at the Ozark Box. Now, back to Sports Time on the Sports Information This hour is brought to you by Lexus College. Here are your hosts, Let's Talk Sports with Brian Davis.
Well, we got to talk about the Grizzlies and what they did over the weekend. A 109-103 win over the Detroit Pistons Saturday night. A Detroit Pistons team much better this year than they have been in the past. A game where Ja Morant, it was kind of weird how it played out Saturday night. The Grizzlies Twitter page put out the starting lineup. It had Ja Morant in there. Then about 5-10 minutes later, Ja Morant was reported on Grizzlies PR that Ja Morant would be out for with sickness. According to the reporting done, he went out for shoot-around, went out before the game, did not feel good, and it was determined before the game started that he would need to sit out and miss that one with the sickness. But Grizzlies able to do it without him. Desmond Bane, really good game, 38 points after struggling against Miami. Jaren Jackson Jr. added 27, and then a really terrific performance from Zach Edey on the boards, grabbing 21 rebounds, also adding 6 assists. So doing a lot, but not a ton of points, but impacting the game in other areas.
Had to have it in against a really improved Detroit team. That was a Detroit team without Jalen Duren. Brian, I think you were with us then or not. Tell me. But you remember how much I loved Jalen Duren that one year.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And especially down the stretch of that year. And I got just absolutely scalded for this comparison. And I sometimes can have bad comparisons like Hashim.
Well,
you can't teach 7'3" and compared him to a young Hakeem Olajuwon. I own them. I own them when I make a mistake. I do not regret that one year down the stretch of that year that I see signs of a young Kevin Garnett in him.
Yeah. Oh man.
Kevin Garnett.
Yeah.
KG.
Yeah. He is. He's been great since getting to the NBA, and for Detroit, it's kind of it. Felt like at first, is this going to work out? They had a lot of bigs on their team, and then, very quickly got in the starting lineup and has really made a name for himself. And feels like, at the time when he was a rookie, youngest player ever to start in the NBA. And so, feels like could have a really long, really nice career in the NBA. And
you mentioned the logjam. Colin talked one like we hadn't ever seen. The league has to love this because all these teams and really I hope for the teams that are playing for credibility's sake. I don't know. I want the Grizzlies to win no matter what, but don't tank. No tankathon this week. Let's have everybody do their best. But here are the 32 lost teams with 32 losses. The Lakers. I don't think. I know mathematically the Grizzlies can get there, but I think the Lakers are going to end up in the 3 spot. But they have 32 losses. No, they don't. They have 30 losses.
Yeah.
Denver, Clippers, Golden State, and Minnesota have 32.
Yeah.
So here's the Grizzlies' record against the 32 lost teams. Denver 1-1, play at Denver Friday night. Clippers 0-3. Golden State 1-3, oddly enough.
Yeah.
And Minnesota 2-0, have them Thursday at FedEx Forum.
Yeah, and the one win against the Golden State was a huge win. Yeah, there's a whole lot of points in that game. And then the Clippers, on the other hand, all 3 of those matchups have been lopsided and not fun at all.
I've never had anybody explain to me why you get most West teams 4 times,
Yeah.
2 and 2.
Yeah.
But some years you only get them 3. I've never had anybody explain to me how, if there's a grid or if is it tough luck or what is it?
I don't know. The scheduling when it comes to the NBA sometimes gets a little wonky. I'll be honest.
And now with the in-season tournament, it can't.
Oh yeah. No. It gets real crazy. But no.
There was somebody from the East, the Grizzlies got 3 times this year, and you usually just get them twice, 1 and 1.
Yeah, who was that? I do remember that happening. But yeah, I mean that's welcome in-season tournament, and it makes these schedules
Was
very,
it
very
Brooklyn?
weird.
It was Brooklyn.
It was Brooklyn. That's exactly who it was.
The only win was the 3rd game.
That's right, because you saw them twice very early in the season and lost both of them, and then you got that game put in there and got a win. So yeah, scheduling for the NBA is a little wonky, but I mean this is an important stretch for the Grizzlies, and you look up and tomorrow night you've got Charlotte, and it feels like you didn't really think Charlotte would be a big game, but because of this logjam, Charlotte is a massive game tomorrow night. I mean, that is a game you have to win if you're the Grizzlies.
4 games left at Charlotte, Thursday night at home, later starting time against Minnesota, Friday night in Denver, and then Sunday afternoon the curtain falls on the regular season. We're guaranteed the 8.
Yep.
So if it just stayed there, that means if you're the 8, you would play the 7 on the road.
Yep.
If you win, you're the 7.
Yep.
And you sit for about a week.
Yep.
That'd be okay if you won.
Sure.
Of course it'd be okay if you won.
Of course.
If you lost, you wait till later in the week to get the winner of the 9-10 game.
That's right.
That would be at FedEx Forum. That's not so bad, but then you would, if you won, you're the 8, and
you get
then
OKC,
have 4-0 or 4-1.
It's terrible.
OKC.
Yeah. It's no fun at all. So, these are tomorrow night on the road at Charlotte, a very important game. And then you'd love to win at least one more and try to improve where you're sitting at, especially if you can maybe get a win on the road at Denver. Certainly a win against Minnesota would definitely help you in this log jam that we have right now in the West. Well, we're going to get to a break here, wrap up this first hour. We're going to come back to the Grizzlies. DeMichael Cole, he's out this afternoon dealing with a little bit of sickness. Hope he feels better. We're going to talk a lot of Grizzlies at 5 o'clock, get back into this conversation, talk about this Grizzlies team, what we expect over these final 4 games. We'll do that at 5 o'clock. But let's go ahead, wrap up this hour. When we return, we're getting back to the college basketball action. David Cobb, he's down in San Antonio for the national championship game tonight. We'll talk about the Final Four, we'll talk national championship, some other college basketball news from over the weekend. We'll do that with David Cobb next on Sports Time.
Showdown at the World Championship Hot Wing Contest and Festival, Saturday, April 26th at the Memphis River Garden Park on Riverside Drive. See over 60 teams fighting for hot wing supremacy along with live blues, soul, and rock and roll, all in support of the Ronald McDonald House. It's a sizzling day of fiery flavors, live music, and family fun, and you're invited. Get your tickets now at worldwingfest.com, sponsored by RS Financial Group, Bank 3, ATC Fitness, and Universal Access. This is your delicious chance to make a difference.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roofing. Did you know there are so many roofing companies in Memphis that I don't even know them all? So that begs the question, which one should you choose? So I thought I'd give you a little background about me. My grandfather was a World War II Marine. My father worked for the University of Memphis for nearly 30 years. My mother, a pianist at Raleigh Baptist Church. Seems like forever. I went to Brownsville Road, Craigmont, and Bartlett High School, class of 81. We support the local school systems, youth athletics, and believe in what St. Jude and Le Bonheur stand for. I'm a Tiger and Grizz fan. The point? Memphis is my home. Five Ash Roofing will be around if you ever have a problem with the service we provide. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical, with deep local ties in our community. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5-Ash Roofing is what we do. We're here for you.
My home used to feel like a complete dead end. Listings here, pre-approval there, financing somewhere else. Now Rocket is giving every home one address. Rocket.com. A single seamless homeownership platform to help you find, buy, sell, finance, and refinance your home. Everything you need, all under one roof. Visit Rocket.com, the new home for all things homeownership. Rocket, own the dream.
Showboats fans, the boats are back in action with a 1:30 kickoff on Saturday, April 12th at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium as they take on the Houston Roughnecks in a special Memphis wrestling-themed game, the Showboats Showdown. Come see all the football action of the UFL and enjoy wrestling matches pregame and a special halftime main event. More football, more wrestling, more Showboats. Get your tickets today at UFLShowboats.com. That's UFLShowboats.com. Go Boats! Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Clearing up a couple of wrecks we had earlier. It's still trying to pick up on some of the major outbound routes, like 55 over here in Mallory. It's got a little bit heavier on 240 east as you travel past Airways all the way out to 385 Billmores Parkway. Still looks pretty good, actually, at the moment as you head out into Collierville. Weimer's Jewelry serving Memphis now for what? Over 40 years? No matter what the occasion is, you'll save a lot of money by shopping local at Weimer's Jewelry out there on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis with Dave Wiloshin, weekday mornings from 10 to 11. Joining Brian and Brett now on Sports Time is National College Football writer for CBS Sports, Memphis native and Tennessee grad, who you can find on Twitter X at David W. Cobb. It's David Cobb.
David Cobb joins us now from CBS Sports. Talk college football and college basketball with him. But obviously today, a whole lot of college basketball, national championship, just a few hours away. David is down in San Antonio, was at the Final Four games, now tonight at the national championship. David, how good was Saturday night? That was so much fun to watch.
Oh, it was unbelievable. And so I had first of all, y'all got me pretty good. I'm coming through okay?
Yeah, at least right now we got you good.
Okay, good deal. I'm here well, there you go. You can hear the buzzer now in the background. I'm actually here at my seat in the Alamo Dome as they're running through the dress rehearsal for tonight with some of the production stuff and everything, and it's the calm before the storm. And boy, if it's anything like it was Saturday night, it's going to be off the chain because so for me, I had the assignment of writing the Auburn kind of post-mortem, story, and so I was back out courtside for most of the second game, but I didn't really start locking in on it until I finished my Auburn story at the under 8 media timeout in the second half. I put my AirPods away. I close my laptop down. I look up, and Duke is ahead by at that point about 12, and I'm thinking, all right, well, it was a good run by Houston. They gave it a shot. I wish I had gotten to watch more of this game, but oh well. And then lo and behold, the next 7.5, 8 minutes were just unbelievable. So just an absolute treat to see that game in person, and one of the all-time great choke jobs in a Final Four.
That's it. Yep. That's it, David. And we've asked our listeners today, was it choke, was it collapse, or was it a comeback? And I said it was CHOKE.
It was. I mean, Houston was there all along. Houston never changed. Houston is who Houston is. Really doggone good team, a tough team, a great team, a gritty team. Houston never wavered. Duke is the team that wavered. Houston kept within striking distance all game, and then Duke fell apart. Duke opened the door with turnovers, missed shots, not being able to get the ball in bounds, failing to execute, not boxing out. There were just a litany of things that went wrong. It was a choke, and so that stigma, that stench is going to stick with Duke because they have the best player in college basketball.
With Shira, particularly.
It will, and there's a lot to unpack there, but it was absolutely a choke.
My biggest reluctance about being so hardcore on that C word, on choke, is I don't want to diminish Kelvin Sampson. I don't want it to sound like, well, he just kind of bumbled and stumbled into it and Duke handed it to him. You do have to accept it. Big man's got to go to that charity stripe and knock two down and not even move the net.
Oh, well, for sure. I mean, all the credit in the world to Houston, no doubt. Like I said, they stayed in touch. They didn't give – a lot of teams would have folded when Duke got ahead by 14. A lot of teams – I mean, look, Houston briefly had the lead around the 16-minute mark in the first half. Never had the lead again until J1 Roberts hits those free throws with under a minute to go. So 19.6, I think, on the clock. So, I mean, they went 35 minutes roughly of game time without ever having the lead. Most teams that do that against Duke get wiped off the floor. They did not. They never let go. They never folded. Eventually, Duke collapsed. And you have to give Houston some of the credit for that, because I was speaking with KC Beard, who's been on that Houston staff for a long time, and he kind of told me the whole philosophy behind defending Cooper Flagg wasn't to keep him from scoring. That's impossible. You can't keep him from scoring. But if you can make it hard on him, if you can make it difficult for him, then maybe over the course of the game it gets worn down. And then when he rises up to take the game deciding shot, the legs aren't there anymore, and that's exactly what happened. He left it short. So, I mean, because you're playing Houston, that had something to do with Duke collapsing. But at the end of the day, if you're a national title worthy team, you take a 14-point lead and you find a way to get to the finish line, and Duke couldn't do that.
No, they couldn't at all. Going back to that first game, another comeback when Florida was able to come back against Auburn. The way they looked in that second half, 50% from the field. They held Auburn to only 33% from the field, forced 12 turnovers, and limited Janai Broome to only 3 points in that second half. What did you see from Florida specifically in that second half?
Yeah, the defense is, I think, what changed the tenor of the game, because Auburn is really good this season about protecting the basketball, and that they only had 2 turnovers in the first half. Well, you mentioned it, Bryant. They had 12 in the second half. That led to 14 points off of turnovers for Florida in the second half. In the first half, they either had 0 or 2. It was negligent, and so that was the difference in the game. Florida's defensive intensity picked up. And Auburn, with Tahad Pettiford, had an unbelievable season. An undersized freshman guard. He was great all year long. You get onto this stage, though, and it's tough. It's tough as an undersized freshman guard at the Final Four to deliver in a game full of 22, 23-year-olds. We saw the same thing in the end there with Cooper Flagg. And so Auburn didn't get the best version of its guard in the second half, nor did it get the best version of Janai Broome, who was, I don't care what he says, he was not 100%. He just wasn't. And I'm not saying that to make an excuse. It's just a factual reality. The SEC Player of the Year wasn't 100% for not just that game, but for a good chunk of the second half of the season. And he soldiered through it. I think he deserves a lot of credit for that. I don't know that a lot of guys who had all the injuries that he had would have kept going at the level he did. He found a way. They just came up a little short. I think what it was, Auburn just ran out of gas. They had a great season. They were number one for a lot of this season, and then they ran out of gas in the end.
Yeah. David Cobb, our guest on Sissy's Log Cabin guest line, from courtside at the Alamo Dome, awaiting the Monday night final tonight, the championship between Houston and Florida. You mentioned postmortem for Auburn. How palpable, how devastated, how crushed were all players, coaches, fans. I've texted, reached out to a couple Auburn friends of mine, and I know it was a tough way to lose.
So the scene that sticks out to me, I'm waiting outside the locker room to go in after Auburn has lost. And there's a cooling off period. And so you're just kind of waiting to get in there and talk with some of the players. And Bruce and his entire staff were huddled around the door. They were all looking down at box scores, and they just stood there in silence, all looking down at these printed box scores for about 5-6 minutes, just completely speechless. And eventually Bruce says 16 points off of turnovers. And that's all he said. Nobody else said anything. But really in that moment, he wasn't looking for a statistical reason why his team lost. He was just trying to find a way to summarize a season. He was trying to figure out a way to go into his locker room and say goodbye to his team. And, you know, when you witness that sort of devastation unfolding, it really gives you a sense of, man, like just how much it means to these players, these coaches, how much you put in, how great of a season you have, and then how abruptly it comes to an end. You know, there was certainly devastation from Auburn on Saturday night. As the weeks, months, and years go by, you'll look back at this season with a lot of good memories. You won the toughest SEC ever outright. You were number one in the AP poll for 8 weeks. You got the number one overall seed in the NCAA tournament. So as the years go by, a lot to be proud of, but hard not to feel like in the moment, obviously, you let a chance slip by.
Yeah, they absolutely did, and obviously still in the moment, but it felt like, and Brett and I were talking about this earlier, Brett made this great point of, you know, they had this team that was an older team. You had Janai Broome that all season we were arguing who's the better player in the country, him or Cooper Flagg. When's the next time Auburn, Bruce Pearl can get back to this opportunity where you're leading in the second half, less than 20 minutes until you're in the national championship game? Can they get back to that moment?
Don't doubt them, right? Because they already got Keyshawn Hall in the fold from UCF. He's going to be a star for them. Tahad Pettiford's going to test the draft, but he's not a surefire lottery pick. He's not even a surefire first rounder. So there's a chance he could come back. If Tahad Pettiford stays around in college basketball, he could be a star. He's one of these guys that's just undersized enough where he could get totally overlooked in the NBA draft process and then become a multi-year college basketball star, a la Walter Clayton Jr., a la L.J. Cryer, who we're going to see tonight, who are now All-Americans, right? He could become that guy in the years to come. So I wouldn't rule it out. He's going to have to retool and recalibrate quite a bit. But at this point, Bruce Pearl has established that he can do that. In fact, for this Auburn team, with as much as they had coming back, they were only number 11 in the preseason AP poll, right? Mm-hmm. So they kind of overachieved to a certain extent this season. And Bruce is such a good motivator and so good at getting the most out of his team that I wouldn't be surprised. He's 65, but he acts like he's 45. I think we could see Bruce go for another 7 or 8 years. And so, yeah, you never know. You never know if or when you'll get a chance to get back to that stage. But he's fully capable of doing it, even with what they are going to lose.
And with that, Coach Bruce Pearl at his X site, x.com at Twitter, he tweeted out earlier, "You go show them, Todd. I wouldn't hesitate drafting you in the first round right now. If they don't, you come back and we run it back." Coach Bruce Pearl. Here's why I would, David, and I'm not trying to pour salt in Auburn's fans' wounds today. I'm not. 6 years in between Final Four appearances. If they had won that Saturday game against UVA, and I thought they got one of the rotten calls of all time in that game, they get Texas Tech on Monday night. If they had won Saturday, they'd have got Houston. That's about as advantageous as it gets. And here comes the rest of the SEC. Florida's going to be around forever. You know Mark Pope's going to get it going at Kentucky. I think John Calipari will at Arkansas, and a couple other places. Tennessee's probably not going away, and a couple other places going to be good going forward. I think, and they're just in state in the Iron Bowl world. I think this was the last best chance for Auburn.
Maybe. I mean, to be the number one overall seed, right? Like, will that happen again? It's hard to imagine them amassing the number of quad one victories that they amassed again. Just incredible. They stood on the successes of the SEC too. Can the SEC as a league? I mean, you mentioned all the programs on the rise, Brett, and accurately so. But other conferences now, when you look at the projected revenue sharing budgets for men's basketball, the SEC is going to have to decide: do they want to continue to invest in this next era to the degree that they did this past season? You saw the dividends of it this season, but they've got to decide if they want to continue taking it at that level in a football-first conference. You know, is that basketball investment going to remain at the top like it was this season? If not, then yeah, this was their last best chance because in the future, if the Big 12, the Big East, the ACC have better Novembers and better Decembers with better players because they're paying them more, then the SEC is not going to get double digit numbers of teams in the field every year, and so the collective success of the league, I think, had a lot to do with how Auburn got to where it was. And that's as much of a question mark, I think, as anything.
Mm-hmm. So what do you expect that we see tonight, Florida and Houston, for the national championship game?
Wow, I mean, Vegas thinks it's a toss-up, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it started Houston -1, and maybe it's now Florida -1. So it should be a great game. You got two of the best rebounding teams in the country, two really good outside shooting teams. Houston, percentage-wise, I think is still number 1 in the country in three-point shooting percentage. Florida is top 100 in terms of their three-point shooting percentage. So it's going to be a war. It's going to be a war on the glass. Now, my question is kind of, can Florida's bigs be the best version of themselves? We know how good these guards are. I mean, Walter Clayton Jr., Elijah Martin, Will Richard, Denzel Aberdeen off the bench. I mean, that is such a good group of guards. But these bigs, they've been a little waffly. They've been a little up and down. Thomas Hawk has been really, really good for the most part, but Alex Condon was not very good in the Final Four victory. Micah Hanlockton hasn't done a lot for them, and Ruben Chinyelu has had some up and downs as well. And so they're going to have to be at their best or close to it for Florida if they're going to hang with the physicality, the offensive rebounding tenacity that Houston brings. Because Jawan Roberts and Javier Francis, man, those guys don't play around. JoJo Tugler is an absolute beast. So Florida's front court is going to have its hands full, and that's, to me, kind of the big question, because I think we're going to get a great battle of the guards, and you know what Houston's going to bring to you on the front line and with the physicality. Can Florida match that?
Mm-hmm. David, a fun fact you might want to share with your friends there on press row and in the media room. 1979, Florida's first indoor football game was against
Brett, did we lose you there? We lost you there for a second.
Yeah,
say that nugget again.
I'm sorry, David. Fun fact, Houston, Florida's first indoor football game was against Houston at the Astrodome in 1979.
What?
Wow. How do you know that? That's incredible.
I remembered how big it was and how bad. Florida went 0-10-1 that year. Houston went 11-1 and won the Cotton Bowl. And I think it was opening day for both. And I think it was Charlie Pell's first game at Florida. And I remember, I remember that. And I looked it up. And it was the Gators' first indoor football game against Houston. So they go way back in football, not so much in basketball.
Amazing, yeah. That's a great pull by you, and it's crazy because Kelvin Sampson and Todd Golden don't really have much of a history. They've not overlapped a whole lot. They're separated by 30 years, right? And so I can't think of a recent instance of these two teams playing. So the lack of familiarity, I think, is interesting as well, because Houston and Duke had played each other in last year's NCAA tournament, right? Florida and Auburn knew each other really well. Well, these two teams don't know each other very well. There's not a lot of overlapping connections here. And so I think that makes it even more fascinating and more intriguing, the fact that this isn't a war between two coaches and two teams that know each other well and what have you. So that's an element of this that makes it a great title game matchup.
Mm-hmm. What would this mean for Kelvin Sampson if he won it tonight, if he cut down the nets close to Houston? I'm sure there will be a lot of Houston fans in attendance tonight in San Antonio. But what would this mean for him? I know your coworker Matt Norlander had a story on CBS Sports earlier this year, and in there was a story about Kelvin Sampson's father calling him. Mm-hmm. It was the last time he talked to his father, and kind of said it was while Kelvin was an assistant coach in the NBA, and said, you're a college coach, and then ultimately took the Houston job at the time. Houston's in a terrible place. It's not a very good job. For him to build that to what it is today, staying there, I'm sure plenty of opportunities to go and coach somewhere else, but staying there, what would it mean tonight to cut down the nets in San Antonio for this Houston Cougars team?
Well, it would be the remarkable climax of an incredible redemption story with Kelvin Sampson, because you mentioned the only reason he ended up in the NBA was because he had a 5-year show call from what happened at Indiana. That's a death sentence in the early 2000s and before in college sports. I mean, it is.
And it was so dumb to get punished like that.
And it's all hilariously trivial in retrospect to hit a guy with that severe penalties for what he was accused of doing, right? And we see the same thing with Bruce Pearl and the redemption angle and how he's able to reclaim his career.
Mm-hmm.
So for Kelvin Sampson, though, Houston was dead. It was dormant. All they talked about was Phi Slamma Jamma when he got hired, and that was 30 years in the past, and it was a great sort of first chapter in their program's legacy. But we're talking 30 years ago when he's hired, and now here they are with a chance to win the whole thing. And you mentioned his father. His father was a high school coaching legend, guys, in the Indian High School Athletic Association in North Carolina. Yes,
wow.
Like it was segregated by Native Americans. Like we're talking about a son of the segregated South here in Kelvin Sampson. He has Native American heritage, and he talks openly about where he grew up in this little tiny town in southeastern North Carolina. It was, the bathrooms and the water fountains were black, white, and other, and he was kind of the other, right, as a Native American in that community. And so, you look at Todd Golden, you look at John Shire, you look at all these other really young and talented coaches out there. They look, I'm not saying they haven't earned it or deserve it. They're great coaches. They've worked really hard to get where they are. They're going places in their careers. But they also had a lot easier paths into this, okay? Because Shire and Golden, they played Division I basketball. They had the connections they needed to become high-level coaches pretty early, pretty quickly. Well, Kelvin Sampson went to little old UNC Pembroke, son of a high school coach. He had to go to Michigan State as a graduate assistant and beg Judd Heathcote for an opportunity. So, the fact that he's even here in the first place is incredible, but the fact that he's here after what happened at Indiana and the journey he had to take with his Houston program, it's a storybook type of situation for the ages. Regardless of what happens tonight, that's the case for Kelvin Sampson, but it's the ultimate validation and the ultimate end to that story if he's able to win it tonight.
David, it is well said and well written by you in that story. Kelvin Sampson's a little bit like Coach Nolan Richardson. His whole life has been a street brawl. It had to be to exist, to survive, to thrive, to excel. And that Indiana decision, look how it impacted college basketball. Indiana still hadn't gotten it right and tried a lot of different things. John Harden today was talking about it's Houston and kind of the apex of Phi Slamma Jamma, and then nothing. A couple of different leagues and nothing until Kelvin Sampson got there.
It was dead. It was dead. And you saw it, right? Kelvin Sampson referred to the AAC as the Toy Poodle Conference, which is kind of hilarious. And also shows you kind of where they were. Yeah. They were in a joke of a league. And what's so impressive is the fact that they transitioned into the Big 12 and did so seamlessly. Man, I thought they were going to go 11-9 in the Big 12. I'll be honest. Mm-hmm. Like I didn't think they were going to go 19-1 and run this conference. Not with Bill Self in it, not with Scott Drew in it. I mean, so the fact that they went from the AAC to the Big 12 and did so successfully and so seamlessly, they made the Big 12 look like a toy poodle conference. I mean, come on. It's that part of it is so baffling and mind blowing. The fact that they were able to jump into that league and just run it. It's unparalleled.
Yeah, no, it really is. All right, well, before we let you go, your pick for tonight.
I'm torn. My official stance, my official prediction all along was that Florida would win the national championship. I think I'm going to stick with that officially. But would I be surprised if Houston wins? No. I mean, so I want to see a great game. That's the ultimate cop-out. Brian, my official CBS Sports stance is that Florida wins.
Okay.
If Houston wins, you won't see me shedding a single crocodile tear. I'll say that.
Oh, and I took the hit for all of America. I had Duke winning it all in my bracket, so I'll take that hit for the rest of the country. And I'm with you. I had Florida in the game and SEC loyalist that I am, but I want Kelvin Sampson to win.
Me too. I do as well. It would be fantastic.
Yeah, it's going to be. However it plays out tonight, it feels like it's going to be a.
What's
really
scary is he's only 7 years older than I am.
How about that?
Well, he's still kicking. No sign of retiring anytime soon. Just keep that in mind.
Well,
But
he's got more incentive to kick than I do.
Well, that is true. And he does have in his contract that his son is the heir apparent at head coach. So that will be a fun
and it would be
story
really
to keep
breaking
an eye
news
on.
that if I had a son.
Well, yes, that would be.
Well, you never say never, right?
I guess not. Well, David, as always, thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy tonight. We'll talk to you again next Monday.
Okay, guys. Thanks.
Thank you, David. Great stuff. Great work down at the Final Four. Look at David Cobb, ringside at the Final Four.
Love it. Love it. And he got
too.
a heck of a night on Saturday. Hopefully he gets another really good night tonight. I feel like, this game's going to be a lot of fun. We mentioned it, right now the books have it as a Florida favorite. They're 1 to 1.5 point favorite tonight. But you look at the advanced metrics. You look at Kempom, Bart Torvik, Evan Mia, any of those websites, they have Houston winning tonight. That Houston should be favored tonight in this game. So it feels like everyone's pretty split on this, and hopefully that means we're going to get a really high-level game tonight.
I'm very guilty of it, but I think it is really, really lame pregame breakdown, and I am very guilty of it. I've done it a million times. It's really key to play from ahead.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Of course.
I mean,
a fast start means everything.
Are they paying you big money for that kind of breakdown? But Florida cannot flirt with playing from behind against Houston.
No. I mean, because the way that they just suffocate you defensively, just makes it really, really tough. And I know David said it, and I completely agree. I mean, we know Florida has the high-level guard play. I mean, what Walter Clayton Jr. has been doing has been incredible. But this feels like a game that is going to come down to the front court, to the rebounding. Who wins those categories, those front court categories? I feel like that's probably who's going to win the game tonight. So it's going to be fun to see how it all plays out just a few hours away. Again, an earlier start time tonight. So if you've got it in your back pocket, this game's going to start about 8:20 or so, get ready tonight, a little earlier, 7:50, the scheduled start time tonight between Florida and Houston on CBS. Well, let's get to another break. When we return, we've got to talk more college basketball. Our bracketologist, Shelby Mast from BracketWag.com. He joins us next.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11, here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Tito's handmade vodka is America's favorite vodka for a reason. From the first legal distillery in Texas, Tito's is 6 times distilled till it's just right and naturally gluten-free, making it a high-quality spirit that mixes with just about everything. From the smoothest martinis to the best Bloody Marys, beyond the bottle, Tito's has gained a reputation for giving back, teaming up with nonprofits around the world to serve its community and do good for dogs. Make your next cocktail with Tito's and learn more at Tito'sVodka.com. 40% alcohol by volume, mainly 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Since 1948, in the alley, the Rendezvous. I'm with John Burgess. John, what's going on in the Rendezvous?
Brett, after 76 years, we've decided to expand our product line. Anyone who's tasted our ribs is familiar with our vinegar base. It's now available in the 32-ounce jar. It's so good to base or marinate all meats. I even put a little bit on turnip greens. Something we've been using at the restaurant or at our house has been the Greek seasoning. My father was a cook, but my mother was a chef. And she was the one that put Greek seasoning on everything from a Mediterranean diet or steak. My mom used it on soup, salad, veggies, fish, any meat. It's a great seasoning and a flavor enhancer. My brother Nick figured out salt and pepper is more than just McCormick's and Morton's. He's come up with the perfect blend we use to coat our shoulders and our brisket, and he used to make it for his friends as Christmas gifts, and they loved it. All these products are available at Rendezvous or online for shipping as gifts and in many grocery stores. And if they're not in your favorite grocery store, ask your grocer to stock it. A beloved family of creatives still going strong since 1948. Rendezvous.
Fill your spring with brilliant style at Sissy's Log Cabin. From the latest designer creams to one-of-a-kind pieces to exquisite diamonds, you'll find the jewelry you need for a stylish spring while enjoying the Sissy's promise of unmatched quality, service, and selection. Experience Sissy's for yourself when you stop by any of our 6 locations or shop online at sissyslogcabin.com. Create the style of your dreams only at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
At Attention homeowners, it's time to score big with Choate's air conditioning, heating, plumbing, and generators. For the first 50 callers who purchase a new carrier system, generator, or tankless water heater, choose between 60 months of no-interest financing or free air duct cleaning, a $500 value. Plus, don't miss our $39 February deals. Choose from a furnace tune-up, a sewer inspection, or an electrical panel inspection. It's the perfect way to prepare your home for the season. But hurry, this winning deal ends February 28th. Don't fumble this opportunity to claim these amazing offers. Call Choates today at 347-8086. And remember, Choates, let our family serve your family.
Take your basketball skills to the next level at Shoot 360 Memphis. Shoot 360 is a revolutionary basketball training facility that combines cutting-edge technology with gamification and provides instant objective feedback, hands-on, one-on-one expert coaching. And now, introducing Shoot 360 for you, a newly renovated 50,000 square foot facility with 2 NBA regulation-size courts, 3 high school-size courts, and 4 shooting bays with Shoot 360 technology. Memberships are now on a monthly basis. And yes, you can become a member at both locations. Whether you're an aspiring young talent, NBA player, or looking for a unique workout, all skill levels are welcome at Shoot 360 Memphis to learn proper shooting and passing techniques, improve fundamentals, and gain a competitive edge while having fun. Shoot 360 Memphis now in Cordova and Collierville. Call them today at 901-779-3176. That's 901-779-3176. The future of basketball training is here. Shoot 360 Memphis.
This traffic brought to you by Brinson Tax Service. They protect you like family.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It continues to pick up out of Midtown in the last few minutes on 240 South, right by South Parkway. As you head on down past Norris, it's gotten busier out here on 240 East from Mill Branch out to 385. Bill Morris Parkway itself has been in pretty good shape so far now. It's going to get heavier out through there the next 15-20 minutes on Bill Morris, continuing on out into Collierville. Hey, if your lawn needs a little bit of help this time of the year, well, help it out with Lawn Solutions. Call Lawn Solutions right now here in the Memphis area, 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We're back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you live and local inside our Family Leisure studios. And joining us now to talk college basketball, our bracketologist, Shelby Mast from BracketWag.com, joins us now. Shelby, the national championship is set. Florida and Houston, both teams needed comeback wins in the Final Four to make it to tonight's matchup. What have you seen really all season long from both of these teams to get to this point?
Both of those teams are excellent. I mean, I from the beginning of the tournament, I had them in the Final Four. I didn't think Houston could beat Duke, but I was obviously wrong about that, especially the way they did a 9-0 run to win the game. Their defense is so incredibly tough. It's going to be tougher for Florida to break it, but I think they can, but I don't know if I put any money on this.
Shelby, I think the same. I was watching those games, and in both of them, a couple times out loud, I said, these are the best teams. There was really nobody else. You know, we was robbed, or, you know, a bad break here or there. Number 5, those 4 teams are 1, 2, 3, and 4. Number 5 might as well be number 25.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there was no doubt left in my mind that the top 4 teams were in the Final Four. I don't know if the 2 best, but that's okay. When you had that good of 4 teams, any of the 2 would have been a good matchup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you mentioned the way that Houston won that game against Duke. I mean, really, Duke should be standing here. We've talked about it a lot, asked the question, was it a choke? Did Duke choke in that final 10 minutes of the game against Houston? Outscored, really out everything over that final 10 minutes. Do you think that Duke choked that game away in the Final Four?
Absolutely. They had a 14-point lead.
Yep.
And in the Final Four especially, you got to hold that. Keep playing. I don't know what they were doing. I don't know if it's coach or if the team tightened up and they just started making mistakes, or I still hadn't figured out for sure what it was. I'd like to give a lot of credit to Houston, though, because they could have just rolled over and quit, and they didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a Duke fan saying that. And now, Shelby, it has been 10 years since Duke last won it. I don't think that's just heresy, but it's been 10 years with a lot of talent coming through. For John Shira, he just completed his first 3 years there, and he inherited a lot different situation than Mike Krzyzewski did when he got the Duke job. Now, it wasn't bereft of history or talent. Bill Foster had been a good coach, but John Shire took it over from the greatest coach ever.
Yeah, the cupboards were left full for him.
Yeah,
and they seem to be full every year. And I want to say it's his youth and inexperience, but he won a title as a player, so he knows and understands what it takes to get there. So I don't want to say his job is in trouble. It probably won't ever be as long as Coach Che's still around. But, get some chips on the wall.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. And I've seen some people, starting to point out these, late game decisions by him, what he's drawing up at the end of games, a couple of times this season, needed something and a lot of times didn't get it done in those games. I think 3 or 4 times this season, needed to draw something up with a last second, and I believe they lost all of those games. But looking at tonight's game, I mean, what do you expect with these two teams? It feels like, everyone is pretty split. You mentioned it, you wouldn't put money on this game. I said earlier, I feel like this comes down to front court play. What do you think will give a team the big edge tonight?
I think Florida and Walter Clayton, he's the kind of kid that can take over a game, and he's been getting better as the tournament has gone on. If he has another game like Saturday, then I think Florida wins. Regardless of how good Houston plays. Houston, they've got guys that can shoot threes and good interior play, but I think they rely on the guards a lot. This, I think, is come down to the guard play.
Yeah,
it usually does in these kind of games. And Walter Clayton, he goes out there tonight and has any kind of game, 20 and up, and they win. He's MOP. I don't know that Houston can win unless they hold him under 20.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to play really solid defense, but that's kind of their mantra. Mm-hmm. They've done that every game. I think they lost 4 games during the year, and by a combined total of like 8 or 9 points. So that's pretty good defense. They are not going to get blown out, and I expect this one to maybe possibly be the best game in this tournament.
It has been a great tournament. That's a good nugget from you, Shelby. Houston only 1 loss this year in regulation.
Yeah,
crazy.
So they don't mind white knuckle games.
No,
they don't mind at all. I think their team is they won't get rattled, and I don't think Florida will either. But whoever is the most strong-willed coming down the stretch is probably going to be the team on top.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. We were kind of talking about it earlier with Auburn and kind of getting to the Final Four. You're up double digits over Florida before that comeback. Do you think Bruce Pearl, do you think Auburn can get back to a spot where they're that close to the national championship game?
I think so, especially with the way that their budget breaks down. I mean, they're signing players last week for next year. And that just boggles my mind still. Players in the portal change teams, and Auburn's not done playing yet. They got to move that portal back to when after the games are done, every tournament's done, then get into that. It's a distraction, but I think there's going to be a lot of players that want to play for Bruce Pearl.
Shelby, earlier I said that the two high-level games played on Saturday, and the margin was 9-3, 6-1, 3 in the other one. And I just suppose I didn't have as fact, and I prefaced it with that was probably the closest ever. Brian, I wasn't even close. 2017, the margin was 5 points for the two games. Wow. 2017,
Holy
10
cow.
minutes ago.
Wow.
Gonzaga won by 4 over South Carolina, and North Carolina won by 1 over Oregon.
All right.
Yeah. Edge of your seat basketball.
Sure is.
It has been, and it was Saturday. That was big-time atmosphere, and you knew for big stakes. That's a crushing loss. I'm so glad we're 44 years from the last consolation game. Nobody should have to go out there and play again after losing like that.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people online question why they don't have that anymore. Well, that's why. I think. I don't know if that's the reason, but that's a good reason.
Yeah. Dale Brown went on a one-man wrecking ball that no team should be subjected to going to the Final Four and having a 2-game losing streak in your year.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. It is fair.
You earned it.
Mm-hmm.
Shelby, this is our final visit. Last week you announced your retirement. We wish you well in retirement. We're going to check in with you. We may throw you on the air even some next winter to talk some college basketball with you. Through the years, you've been great to me and to us with your knowledge and your passion and love of the game, and I know you'll love that tonight. Your Duke Blue Devils won't be in it, but you love basketball. But for so many of us at this station and our audience, we say thank you, and we appreciate you.
I'm glad to have been on your show. You guys have been nothing but great to me.
Yeah. Well, as always, Shelby, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a blast, and enjoy this game tonight. Should be a lot of fun.
I think so. You guys enjoy it too.
Thanks, Shelby.
Be safe, Shelby. Thank you.
Right.
Shelby Mash joining us from BracketWag.com, our bracketologist. And one final time talking with him, one really, really good guy. And I hope he's right. I hope tonight is a great game.
I hope good sailing for Shelby.
Yes.
Had some health challenges through the years. Had a pretty severe stroke several years ago, but kept on plugging. And he announced here, really first, we did it on Twitter, and then announced here that this was going to be it for him. And a longtime bracketologist for USA Today and Gannett with his great site, BracketWag.com. Tonight, your preference, never mind bracket. You have Houston winning, so it's easy for you to pull for Kelvin Sampson, isn't it?
Sure, yeah. Well, I said it last week. You know, I was rooting for whoever won the Houston Duke game. You know, as you know, Brett, I have a full closet just dedicated to Duke basketball apparel.
I've accused you of.
You have, but no, I mean, I think the story for Houston, if they could win tonight, for Kelvin Sampson, it would be so much fun. You know, I mentioned it with David Cobb, the Matt Norlander story, where it talks about, obviously, he has to go and be an assistant in the NBA because of getting that show clause from Indiana, and, him having that conversation with his dad about, you're a college basketball coach. You have to get back to college, taking the Houston job where it was at a very, very, down time and a really tough job to take, and to be able to build it to this level, I'm sure has gotten offers to go and coach at better programs, higher levels, but has stayed there at Houston. And, now with this opportunity tonight in San Antonio, not far, I'm sure there were a lot of Houston fans that tried to get tickets for tonight's game after they won the Final Four. If he can cut that net down tonight, I think that would just be a great story for college basketball.
It really would be. And the idea, this is how great Phi Slama Jama was. But they played in back-to-back finals 2 years in a row. Had the heartbreak to Jimmy V in '83 in Albuquerque, and then in '84 ran into John Thompson's team that had been building to that point for a lot of years with Patrick Ewing as a 4-year senior. That's never going to happen again. And those other great complementary players, and had the freshman that year, Michael Graham, who really burst on the scene down the stretch of that championship year. For the Hoyas, if you don't win it back-to-back years with Akeem, it may take a while before you get back to this point.
Yeah.
And it did.
Yeah, I mean, it took a really long time, and so now, maybe you can say the same thing about Houston again with this iteration of it, but, just the consistency from Kelvin Sampson has been really fun to watch, and so, yeah, I hope Houston wins. I'll be rooting for Houston. Who's your preference tonight? I'm
for Houston. If they take my SEC card from me, they can have it. I think I've waved the flag enough. I do think, and I will think tonight, and I told you about it, Brian. I talked about it on the air a couple years ago, maybe Todd Golden's first year at Florida. Mm-hmm. I'm at the Florida-Arkansas game in Fayetteville, and I'm staying at the hotel where the Florida team is staying, and I'm up at the crack of dawn, kind of lobby lizarding, just hanging around down in the lobby and looking for a Coca-Cola way too early in the morning, right? And see a nice man, around my age, maybe a year or two older, close enough, and just struck up conversation with him. I said, well, what do you do for Florida? He says, well, I don't work for him. My son's the head coach. And it was Todd Golden's dad. And he was just, proud dad, and said, we got to rebuild it and going to have to, take a few steps back before take a few forward. Mm-hmm. Well, he has.
Oh, yeah. No, he absolutely has. And, I mean, even going back to earlier this year, with some of the accusations.
Really lucky to make it to the starters gate.
Oh, certainly. And so, I mean, just to go from that to being, just a couple hours away of coaching in the national championship game, it has been really impressive. Walter Clayton Jr., what he has done this season and what he's been able to do in the NCAA tournament has been fun to watch. So, yeah, I think tonight's going to be a lot of fun. And, whoever wins, I think it's going to be a really good story.
Walter Clayton, if Florida wins and he has 18 to 20 or more runaway MOP?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No question about it. I'll even say this. He's not on my list for Florida all time. They win tonight, and he has a big game. If we were to do the list tomorrow, he's on the list somewhere. I don't know where he's slotted, but he's on the list
somewhere.
Here's
how good Akeem Olajuwon was. In 1983, on the defeated team, he was MOP of the Final Four.
That's incredible.
The last one.
It's incredible.
Not the only one. There's a bunch through the years. I think either Elgin Baylor or Bill Bradley won it on a third-place team when we did have a consolation game.
Wow. Wow, that's even more incredible. But, yeah,
Howard Porter won it in 71 on a team that got beat Villanova, but Akeem's the last one in 83.
Wow. Yeah, well, I'm glad.
What time did they hand the ballots out? I mean, you can't give it to Lorenzo Charles for the stick back.
Yeah, I mean that's the issue is you gotta get those in. We gotta announce who the MOP is right after the game's over, so it can make for some
time's money, isn't it?
Some interesting ballots, I guess. But now tonight will be a lot of fun, and we'll get back to this conversation a little bit later in the show at 5:30. We're gonna go through our Big Four for both Florida and Houston. Before we get to this break, let me remind you, spring is here. It's the perfect time to head out to Frontier Western Store so you can walk into the new season in style. Family owned and operated since 1967, Frontier Western is your one-stop shop for the biggest brands like Carhartt, Wrangler, and so much more. Check out Frontier's world-famous boot showroom. Whether it's work boots or dress boots, Frontier has your entire family covered with plenty of in-stock proven classics like Ariat, Dan Post, and Durango, just to name a few. Frontier Western Store is the one-stop shop for Carhartt in the Mid-South, and they also have you covered with thousands of new shirts and jeans. You need a new pair of jeans? Frontier has you covered with the newest selection from Wrangler to Ariat, and you'll love how easy it is to find your size and style. Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know you'll be getting the best deal. Head down to 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch to check out the whole selection. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Sunday, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Well, let's get to another break, and when we return, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, fellas. It's Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, and I want to make you aware of something. Did you know that April is Diamond Month? Well, it is. And if your wife or your girlfriend or maybe your daughter has a birthday in April, Diamond is her birthstone. If your wedding anniversary is in April, then your wife surely deserves a diamond. Whatever the occasion, a small gift wrap box containing beautiful diamond jewelry from Russell Russell Brothers will always hit a home run, and it will make you a hero in her eyes. A ring, a pendant, earrings, or a bracelet. You can't go wrong with a piece of jewelry from Russell Brothers Jewelers. It will be a gift that you'll treasure for many years. For 5 decades, Russell Brothers has been helping Memphis men find the very best in diamond jewelry for their sweethearts. Yellow or white gold, platinum or sterling. You cannot go wrong with a gift of exquisite diamond jewelry from Russell Brothers Jewelers. Come see us at 4646 Poplar at Perkins.
Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom gate solutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial needs, including repairs, maintenance, and installation. Automatic Gates Construction specializes in designing and installing automatic gates and fencing that seamlessly blends security, functionality, and aesthetic appeal. Elevate the safety and efficiency of your property with a premium gate solution. Automatic Gates Construction at myautomaticgates.com.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery instead of dependable service and no long-term contracts. An easy choice. Call Jeff Matus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Constipation and belly pain still coming back. Yeah. Nia, our doctor, figured it out. She said it's irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, and Linzess can help you get out of it. Linzess levitates prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's a naloxone. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get out of your symptoms. It's permanent with bowel movements and helps relieve the problem pain symptoms. Every pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms are static validation of individually. And then your Linzess tissue drug is in there. And make it home. Do you take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage? Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe symptoms, especially with four-year blood stools. As well as acting as diarrhea symptoms severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stuck in your head pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess.
Take your basketball skills to the next level at Shoot 360 Memphis. Shoot 360 is a revolutionary basketball training facility that combines cutting-edge technology with gamification and provides instant, objective feedback and hands-on, one-on-one expert coaching. And now, introducing Shoot 360 Cordova, a newly renovated 50,000 square foot facility with 2 NBA regulation-sized courts, 3 high school-sized courts, and 4 shooting bays with Shoot 360 technology. Memberships are now on a monthly basis. And yes, you can become a member at both locations. Whether you're an aspiring young talent, NBA player, or looking for a unique workout, all skill levels are welcome at Shoot 360 Memphis to learn proper shooting and passing techniques, improve fundamentals, and gain a competitive edge while having fun. Shoot 360 Memphis now in Cordova and Collierville. Call them today at 901-779-3176. That's 901-779-3176. The future of basketball training is here. Shoot 360 Memphis. Sportstime on Sports 56 and 95 Once again, Brett Arthur and Brian Davis.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
Well, my big number today is the number 895. And I'll actually throw in a second big number, 1,487. All right, we ready? We ready for these big
Sports
numbers?
Time first, those numbers.
Okay, I love it. I'm glad that they go together.
Official documenter of all big numbers, you know.
Of course, you keep in that back pocket of yours. Alexander Ovechkin netted goal number 895 yesterday afternoon against the Islanders, breaking Wayne Gretzky's career goal record. He scored 2 goals Friday night in a home home game to tie Gretzky's record, but yesterday was able to break it on a power play. This was a record for years people thought would be untouchable, but Alexander Ovechkin was able to do it yesterday. It was at the Islanders, so it was a road game for the Capitals. They completely stopped the game. We had like a 30-minute ceremony recognizing what he had done. But how about this other big number, 1,487? That's how many games it took Wayne Gretzky to get 894 goals to set the record, or I guess finish his career with 894. For Alexander Ovechkin, it took him 1,487 games to break that record and get goal number 895. So, I mean, the amount of time it took both these guys right there, neck and neck with each other. So, some really good stuff over the weekend. Gretzky was there for both those games to see his record get broken. It was a fun weekend.
Top shelf about it.
It was, yeah, he was awesome about it. And it made for a really, really fun Sunday afternoon in the hockey world.
It made you think, what if, he couldn't for a long time ago. Lou Gehrig couldn't be there when Cal Ripken broke his streak, but Wayne Gretzky could be and was first class about it. Now, Gretzky still has the points lead, right?
Correct. Oh, yeah, and it's by a wide margin. That will never, I don't think, ever be broken.
And it's the great Rob Fisher note about that. If you take all of Gretzky's goals out, he would still have the all-time points record without any goals. He never scored the first one.
Yeah, it's insane. That's why he's the great one. I mean, he is untouchable. He's incredible.
My big number, a paltry 37 compared to your big old numbers. Mine's 37. Houston trying to become the 37th different college basketball national champion since the NCAA tournament began in 1939. Florida, they have their back-to-back. Florida trying to join Louisville and Villanova as three-time champs.
Yeah. Wow. That is a really, really good number.
Now, the NCAA record book does not recognize Louisville's Rick Pitino championship, but they won it, just like the Tigers were in the 08 finals.
That's exactly right. We all watched it. We saw them win it. We lived it. And especially with that, I mean, I guess you can make a case.
I think the NCAA would really like to mind control and make you forget.
Oh, yeah.
If they could, those pinheads would.
If they could click a button and you never remember when Louisville won the national championship or when Memphis was in the Final Four, they most definitely would.
And that kind of little Stasi-Leninist Marxist, if they could, they would tell us what color shirt to wear every day if they could.
That's right. Yeah, that's the NCAA for you. But I guess nothing that they can put on this year's tournament and say, forget about at least that we know of right now.
And did you see where the Stasi wouldn't allow Hakeem Olajuwon on the court Saturday night to celebrate with Houston?
Really? I saw that he was off court, but I did not know that was you cannot go out there.
He didn't have some little special badge.
Yeah.
Only the MOP of their event one time.
That's right. Yeah, but doesn't have the
only played
wristband.
in 3 of them.
Yeah.
No telling how much money he made the NCAA.
Oh man, I mean, yeah.
But no, you don't have the right little goofball badge on.
Yeah, you don't have the right color on it. You have a badge, but and I can see your name on the badge that says who you are. But no, you don't have the correct color. These are the same people that when you're at a NCAA tournament game, they make you pour your drink into a Powerade cup.
Oh, that's big. That cup's big.
Oh man,
that authorized cup.
Can't have you drinking a Coke out there. You gotta have it in the Powerade
Boy, if
cup.
you showed up with a Budweiser and a Marlboro, they'd really flip out,
They
wouldn't they?
They really would. They wouldn't know what to do. But no, tonight's going to be a lot of fun. Florida and Houston. Let's go ahead.
That may be the next time I drink. If I ever get to a credential to the NCAA tournament, and I've never smoked the first cigarette in my life,
right.
I'm rolling down through there with a 16-ounce tall boy and a Marlboro.
I love it. Let's book it. Let's do it in a couple, and maybe not next year's NCAA tournament. Let's do it in a couple NCAA tournaments. We'll book it and get it done. Let's go ahead and wrap up the second hour, get to another break, and when we return, we're going to talk Grizzlies. It was a busy weekend for them. They get the win over the Detroit Pistons, but now a massive roadblock for them as we've got a lot of cars for a couple spots. We'll talk about what this final week of the regular season looks like, couple teams in front of them that they'll play this week. We'll do all that next on Sports Time.
Showdown at the World Championship Hot Wing Contest and Festival. Saturday, April 26th at the Memphis River Garden Park on Riverside Drive. See over 60 teams fighting for hot wing supremacy along with live blues, soul, and rock and roll. All in support of Ronald McDonald House. It's a sizzling day of fiery flavors, live music, and family fun, and you're invited. Get your tickets now at worldwingfest.com. Sponsored by RS Financial Group, Bank 3, ATC Fitness, and Universal Access. This is your delicious chance to make a difference.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roofing. I have been told that my ads are all business and I should share some of my personality. Okay, I love tongue twisters, like the one about the terrific tasting toast by Taste Tester Toaster, or Big Black Bugs, Bleed Blue Blood, and of course Sally and her seashells. Or of course the ever-present I'm a Mother Pheasant Plucker, I plug Mother Pheasants. Okay, enough of that. If you want an honest, fair, reasonable roofing, siding, or gutter estimate, call Five-Ash Roofing at 367-0050. That's exactly what you'll get. No empty promises, no high-pressure sales tactics, and no fast-talking salesman trying to convince you that today and only today is the best day for you to get a new roof. For the record, the best day to get a new roof is when you're ready for one. Five-Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Showboats fans, the boats are back in action with a 1:30 kickoff on Saturday, April 12th at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium as they take on the Houston Roughnecks in a special Memphis wrestling-themed game, the Showboats Showdown. Come see all the football action of the UFL and enjoy wrestling matches pregame and a special halftime main event. More football, more wrestling, more Showboats. Get your tickets today at UFLShowboats.com. That's UFLShowboats.com. Go Boats!
This traffic brought to you by Brinson Tax Service. They protect you like family.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. MPD working with a couple of earlier accidents. What we're seeing right now is a little bit of heavier traffic volume trying to come south onto 40 coming out of the Midtown area from South Parkway down to Norris. It's going to get busier the next 10-15 minutes guaranteed on 240 as you come past Mount Moriah getting on to 385 Bill Morris Parkway going outbound. Weimer's Jewelry is your diamond engagement ring headquarters this coming bridal season. Go by and see them and shop local at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studios, we are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover once again.
You say you stand by your man. Tell me something I don't understand.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you live and local inside our Family Leisure Studios. We got to talk Grizzlies. We've talked a little bit about them and what they did Saturday night against the Detroit Pistons. A 109-103 win. Game where Desmond Bane, really the star of the show, 38 points after really struggling the game before against Miami. But now you look up, and Grizzlies four-way tie right now with the Clippers, Warriors, and Timberwolves for that fifth seed. Nuggets, they are also in their 32 losses, but right now, according to the standings, they are a half game ahead because they've played one more game. And then the Lakers right there in front for the 3 seed. It feels like it would take a lot for one of these four teams to pass the Lakers, but a massive pileup right now in the Western Conference with not many games left on the schedule.
It is absolute demolition derby coming down the pile-up home stretch. And you know what you're going to get a bunch of this week in any Laker game. Every call that goes their way, Twitter and reaction is going to be, they want them to be the 3 seed.
Of course. There's no avoiding it. You know that's going to happen. I mean, it happens in games that don't matter, and so of course it's going to matter now. Down
happens in a preseason game.
That's right. Yeah.
So you know it's going to be right for that this week. And if they're the 3, and it all went to grid, then they defeat the 2. Then that would be Lakers, Oklahoma City in the finals, in the Western Conference Finals, and that would only inspire the conspiracists even more. I might play into some of that conspiracy between now and Memorial Weekend. Who knows? Got this from NBA Communications today at their Twitter site. and the tweet was, "It's the final week of the NBA regular season, and there is still so much at stake. 19 of the 20 postseason seeds have yet to be clinched."
Whoa. Whoa.
Wow.
Wow.
And way to go, NBA. Kind of, that's the baseball press release late in the year of, and some of those baseball still in playoff contention. I mean, you might have to have something like 19 inches of rain from Wednesday to Saturday for that to occur.
Yeah. But it's, hey, let's rally everybody. Look at what we've got going. And you're right. I mean, I like that the NBA is pushing that because, there were a lot of stories being written earlier this month when March Madness was just kicking off about NBA has a March problem. When the tournament gets here, nobody cares about the NBA. It's all college basketball. Everyone's watching from 11 a.m. till late at night, and they don't really care what's going on in the NBA. And how do you try to fix that? What do you do? It I guess is a problem for the NBA that they've got to find something. But I do like, as we kind of get out of college basketball ending tonight, down the stretch before the playoffs start, the NBA really trying to push that as, man, there's so much left to play with just a week left in the regular season.
In the West, the ones is Oklahoma City. 2 will either be Houston or the Lakers. Here's the 3. Houston, Lakers, Denver, Minnesota. I'm sorry, I don't know that logo. Minnesota, Golden State, and the Grizzlies. Okay. And I still don't know what that logo is. Oh, it's Dallas. No, it's not Dallas.
What does it look like?
I don't know what that is. I've never seen that logo before.
What is it? What color is it? I don't know.
It's blue and looks like a ship is sailing at you.
Oh, that's the new Clippers logo. Clippers changed their logo.
Boy, Ballmer, he's on top of it, isn't he?
Well, hey, you move into a new building, you got to change your logo.
That is the Clippers logo. Okay. How did I miss that? When did they do that?
Well, yeah.
October?
Well, yeah. I think they just kind of dropped it in there at some point.
Holy, you know what? I didn't have a clue what that was. All right, 4, Denver, Clippers, Minnesota, Grizzlies. 5 seed, same teams.
Yep.
6 seed, same teams.
Yep.
7 seed, same teams. 8 seed, same teams.
Insane.
So at worst, the Grizzlies are going to be the 8, and the best they can do is 3, and I don't think that's really realistic, 3. But 4, 5, 6, and 7, it is real.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is anything can happen. It's wide open. And you look for the Grizzlies, over these last 4 games, they play both Minnesota and Denver. So, I mean, if you can beat both of those teams, then that puts you in a pretty good spot. Obviously, wins help you, losses hurt those 2 teams. So, only 4 games, a lot left to play, and it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier in the show when we were talking about the Grizzlies. Tomorrow night's game against the Hornets is a extremely important game. That is not a game where you can say, well, the Hornets are out of it, final week of the regular season, we've got some big games coming up. Let's just take this one off and we'll get back to it in the next game. No. You got to go out and win that game so that you can continue to be in the running for one of these spots and try to keep yourself out of the play-in games.
That Clippers new logo, that was about the mind.
It's something. It is. It's different.
Late on a Monday. All right. 4 games left. Let's do this, and let's do it under 2 different ways. Okay. Grizzlies record, and what seed does that what would that land you at?
Oh, geez.
So 4-0. What would that get you? Would that get you into the 4?
I think it would probably get you into the 4, right?
Well, that means you've defeated Denver, so they would have 33 losses, and the Grizzlies would only have 32. So you're ahead of them.
Right.
You to beat the Clippers this week. Same for Golden State.
Yeah.
And you play Minnesota on Thursday night. So if you're 4-0, you've defeated them, so you're ahead of them.
Yeah.
So 4, maybe 5.
Yeah.
And maybe even 6.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. I mean, again, how does it play out for certainly those teams you don't play? And, I mean, if they go undefeated, they'd be in the same boat as you. But yeah, you're anywhere between 4 and 6, I would say.
I think the Grizzlies have to go 4-0 this week to not be in the play-in.
I think you're right.
3-1 lands you at the 7, doesn't it?
It does, and you look at, talk about what you do not have a tiebreaker against the at least if it's a 2-team tie. At least you don't have the tiebreaker against Golden State. You don't have the tiebreaker against the Clippers. You don't have the tiebreaker against the Nuggets. So you really need 4-0, to stay out of the play-in.
The win Saturday against Detroit did end that ugly nugget of hadn't defeated a winning team since February 3rd.
Yeah, it did, and it was kind of one of those something has to give, right? Because they had such a good record against Eastern Conference teams, but they had such a bad record against teams over 500, and so it was like, all right, well, what's going to give? Is this going to be another game where you struggle against teams over 500, or is this going to be a game where you continue to have success over the Eastern Conference? They were able to get the win without John Morant, who was out with illness, and so, I think a good win for the Grizzlies.
The Grizzlies really did feast on the East.
Mm-hmm. They absolutely did. Really, the only teams they had problems with were those teams that have completely separated themselves from the rest of the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, they beat everybody.
Yeah, it's those 3 teams at the top. Outside of that, they really did a really nice job against the Eastern Conference. It just shows you, really the difference between the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference. The Eastern Conference, it's 2 teams and then a large gap, the Knicks, and then another gap, and then everyone else. And over in the West, we're seeing it play out right now. You have all of these teams trying to battle for playoff spots.
If the Grizzlies finish as the 7, that means a home game next Tuesday night.
Yeah, that's right.
Against the 8.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you want the 8 to be if the Grizzlies are the 7 and hosting at FedEx Forum?
I would like it to be Minnesota, I think. I'm not.
Tell me.
Well,
you're real motivated.
Yeah, well, and I think you can tell in my voice how confident I am about it.
And I don't know that you can be the 7 without beating them Thursday night.
That's right. Yeah, it's really tough right now. And, you look at the way that all of these teams are playing in front of you, other than Denver. Denver's kind of in the same boat with you. They've been dealing with some injuries, and so they've kind of struggled 3-7 in their last 10. They've lost 4 straight games. But you look at, Minnesota, 7-3, 5 straight wins. Golden State, 7-3 in their last 10. They are on a 1-game losing streak. The Clippers, 8-2 in their last 10 games on a 4-game winning streak. Grizzlies now on a 2-game winning streak, but you look up, they're 3-7 in their last 10. So it feels like all the teams around you are moving in the right direction, and you, for the mostly, have been moving in the opposite direction. So, I would like them to be 7 just so that they can, host that game, and maybe with home court advantage, you get that win and you can be the 7 seed taking on the Rockets. But, it's going to be tough to get there. And then if you are the 8, it's going to make it. I think you get in. You're probably the 8 seed. But then, we talked about it earlier. That makes it really tough. You're playing OKC. And, they're going to have their way with you. They've done it all season.
Fisher. They just got there. That it's must. It kind of sets the tone for the week.
Yeah, that it's good that at least Rob saying that they know that it's go for it, because this is a big game. This is a Hornets team that has not been good this season. They have LaMelo Ball, but he is sidelined for the rest of the season.
Hornets, pack it in.
Yeah, just get out, man. Tickets for $5 for tomorrow night's game in Charlotte. But they're a team. They're ready to get to the offseason. They're ready to get to the NBA draft. And so hopefully we're coming in here on Wednesday talking about a 3-game win streak, and then a really big game on TNT against Minnesota.
Well, they'll start Thursday night at FedEx Forum.
Oh yeah. No, you are absolutely right about that.
And then Friday in Denver.
Yeah, it's a sprint. This week's a sprint, but really once you get to Thursday with that Thursday game against Minnesota, Friday night at Denver, and then back home Sunday night against Dallas. Get ready for the travel, and you better be ready to go in all 3 of those games.
This is tough, but the dynamic around the team. Do you think there are any teams out there going, boy, we don't want anything to do with Memphis right now?
No. I think the Rockets are probably sitting there saying we want the Grizzlies to get the 7 seed
there are a lot of teams
and win the play-in. Yeah, I just said it. when you look at the 4 teams that are battling right now, or I guess 5 teams that are battling right now for playoff positioning, 3 teams are moving in the right direction. 1 team has won an NBA Finals, and the only reason that they've been struggling is because of injuries. And then there's the Grizzlies. So I mean, I think there are a lot of teams out there that if playoffs roll around and they're playing the Grizzlies in the first round, they probably feel pretty good about it.
Rank the 32 loss teams. So we would say Grizzlies would be 5th, right?
Yeah, I would say Grizzlies are 5th. Oh man, this is tough. I would say Minnesota is probably 4th. I'd put Clippers 3, Denver 2, Golden State 1.
I would too, and Denver's leaking oil.
And Denver's leaking oil. They got to get healthy, and they've been struggling with injuries. And I know Jokic has missed some games with injuries. Jamal Murray has missed games with injuries.
Lost at home last night.
Yeah, and so I mean but the thing is when they get healthy, if they get healthy, they have so much firepower. Yeah, I mean
could get to the Western Conference Finals.
They certainly could, and I know they've made some kind of rotational changes in the offseason. The last 2 seasons that people question. But as long as you got Jokic out there, I feel pretty good about what you can do as a basketball team. You have Jamal Murray out there, and a lot of those other supporting characters on that team. They're a team that I wouldn't want to see in the playoffs. And so but they got to get healthy because health has been the biggest issue for them.
Even Sunday afternoon against Dallas, it could really matter.
It really could, and that's a Dallas team that. It's been a weird season for them. At that point, it feels like they'll be pretty safe in the play-in, but we know they're not going to get Kyrie back, but they're starting to get healthy in terms of front court. Anthony Davis is back, Derek Lively's back, a couple of those other guys that they've been missing throughout with injuries are back. So they can be a feisty team. But we always talk about, and especially obviously not last year because of the injuries, but in the couple years before that, when the Grizzlies were squarely in the playoffs, and we were talking about, oh man, these last 2 games of the season, sit everybody, and we're going to see Yuki go out there and play 30 minutes for the Grizzlies. That's not going to happen this year because all 4 of these games are extremely important for the Grizzlies.
Yeah, and then next week, the idea of being in a play-in game, and that means you're not in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's right.
It does not in your kind of your resume record book. You are not designated as a playoff team, are you?
No.
Just like in the bubble, the Grizzlies lost that 1-gamer in August that year. Grizzlies lost a 1-gamer in August of 20 on a Sunday afternoon. I remember watching it.
Yeah.
Just thank the Almighty, we've got sports on TV.
I'll watch anything.
But just anything.
Oh, man. I mean, some of the things that I was watching when sports finally did come back during COVID was just insane.
And then that day that we had a golf major, one of the big 3 horse races, NBA in the bubble, college and pro football, and Major League Baseball. Did I say baseball?
I don't think you did, so throw that in there.
And there was something else. Hockey, Stanley Cup playoffs.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, man.
It can't be real.
Yeah, it's a lot going on. A ton going on. But no, I mean, for you to be a playoff team, you got to make it out of the play-in. And so, if the Grizzlies are in there, that means you got to win a couple, at least you got to win 1 game. And whether it's that first game or whether it's that second game, you got to win 1 to get in there. And then, you're looking at either the 7th or the 8th. You would much rather see the Rockets. Obviously, the season record this year against the Rockets isn't great, but you go back and look at those games. You go back and remember those games. At least 3 out of the 4 of those games were, 1-possession games down the stretch. The 2 games Grizzlies lost that came down to the final possession. They were, take that foul, you're down 3, get sent to the line, and then they ended up winning one of them. Lost the one that didn't come down to the wire. That was, I think, second game of the season. I mean, that was super early in the year. I think you have a much better opportunity against the Rockets than you do against the OKC Thunder.
What a great year for basketball in the ultimate football town, Houston, Texas.
Oh, man. It's been incredible.
Rockets, Cougars, and I don't even pretend that I'm any expert on the day in, day out kind of fits and starts of sports talk in Houston. But please tell me today there's Cougar mania.
Oh, absolutely.
I got to text Chris Gordy and see.
Yeah, you definitely do. That'd be a good question for him.
I would hate for him to text back and go, no, today it was, a whole bunch of who the Texans are going to draft.
Yeah.
And
we're talking draft boards and
Texas
off-season
spring football.
acquisitions. No. I my guess would be that it's a whole lot of Houston Cougars, but you're right. I mean, obviously, that Kelvin Sampson consistently is going to have a great team, but then for what the Rockets did, I mean, I don't think we saw this type of jump.
Nobody did.
No, I mean, we just didn't see it. But so talented with the young guy.
Team.
I mean, it's incredible. Then they had the veterans, Fred Van Vliet, Dylan Brooks. These veteran guys that they were able to kind of fit into that puzzle with all of the young, really talented youth. It's worked out, and obviously they have a great coach, and now sitting comfortably in that 2 seed.
Except for years that they're really good, it's been a struggle for the Rockets to get on the front page of the sports page, and real struggle for the Houston Cougars.
Oh, absolutely. And I would say...
and impossible for Rice.
Oh, well, yeah. Rice is like, I don't even know how many pages they have. They're like on the bottom of the 10th page,
They classifieds.
They're just... I forgot about Rice. There they are. But no, it's been a really good season in the Western Conference, and these next 4 games are going to determine a lot, really nothing basketball-wise in the NBA tonight. Only 2 games, Kings, Pistons, 76ers, Heat. Obviously, neither of those games matter for the Grizzlies.
And I don't know every year, but a lot of years, the NBA stands down for Championship Monday.
They absolutely do.
And I don't think either of these are makeup for any weather issue or anything like that.
No, I think these are just scheduled games. But yeah, you're right. The NBA does a really nice job of saying, hey, we're either going to do absolutely nothing or we'll throw a game or two out there. And, obviously a big moment for the basketball world. And a lot of those guys, obviously it would have been more if Duke made the national championship. But, there will be guys from these 2 teams that will be on NBA rosters. And so, for the NBA, hey, let's get out of the way and watch these 2 teams fight it out for the national championship.
Smashing TV ratings for Saturday.
Really good.
For both games, and expecting that tonight. Was Saturday the power of Duke and the power of the SEC?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it goes back to what we've talked about a lot, really back since the Sweet 16 of everyone's complaining about the no Cinderellas, but it's only going to make for high-level, big-time basketball down the stretch. And then you get to it, and you have all number 1 seeds, and you've got Duke in there. You've got the SEC. I mean, it just was that, perfect opportunity, and it played out how obviously the TV networks wanted it to play out, and we see that it resulted in big-time numbers.
Most of the underdog stuff, there certainly been cases, Buster Douglas knocking out Mike Tyson, 80 hockey. We can go through all the upsets, but mostly that's in the movies with Hickory High winning.
Oh yeah. I mean, we talk about it, and it's a fun story for the first weekend, but then after that, that's when. Just like that, they're gone. It's usually by wide margins. And so, yeah, I mean, I love a good Cinderella. I love a good underdog. But, to get these type of matchups that we saw Saturday night, I mean, just incredible.
Honestly, I don't.
I know you don't.
I really don't. I want the big boys in there. It makes for better. I know how it's going to turn out, and through all those years of Cinderella, even getting all the way to the final game. Look, Gordon Hayward's shot didn't go in.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I know how it ends.
Yeah, I mean, it plays out every single time the way we know it's going to play out. And so, yeah, to have the big boys in the Final Four, all number 1 seeds, you knew it would be good numbers. I did not know it would be that big, but it was. And it was 2 unbelievable games that I think are going to go down in history of college basketball and Final Four games.
Our bracket's mostly complete. I am finished. Went into the weekend 50-10, split on Saturday, went 1-1. So 51-11, I'm going to lose tonight because Duke's out. So I'm going to finish my all-time great bracket, 51-12. You know what's going to win me?
Nothing.
Squadouche. Nothing.
Yeah.
It did win the contest on our show, though.
It sure did. That's all
You
that
are
matters for us.
48-14 going into tonight. If Houston wins, you will finish 49-14. Landon was 0-2 Saturday and will be 0-1 tonight and will finish really good for a first bracket.
Yeah.
47. There are a lot of years 47, 48, 49 wins it.
Oh yeah, no, it absolutely does. But again, year of the chalk, and
Chalky year.
It was very chalky. I learned throughout the show today that if Houston wins tonight, I win the office bracket pool. So
Why, heck
we are big time rooting for Houston tonight.
That I couldn't blow, and I've blown.
Well, yeah, that's right. But
we are. Heck yeah.
So hey, we are big Houston fans over here. How about this? Since we're since we're throwing some things out, how about Showboat Bankroll over the weekend? How about we update that a little bit? I was the only winner for Showboat Bankroll over the weekend. I took the Showboats for $100. They got there covering that 7.5 over DC. Landon, you put $100 on DC. That is a L. And Brett, you took a rather large swing, not a huge swing. After the swings that you took in Tiger Bankroll, this is not that big of a swing for you. But you did go $200 on DC. DC won the game, but they did not cover the spread against the Memphis Showboats. And that's all we care about around here.
We all started with a grand. I've already cut it in half for me. I'm already minus 500.
Wow.
I got a feeling me marking that bracket early, making that X by Houston, that's going to jinx me forever in every contest we've ever. First time I've ever done it, Brian.
It could.
First time I ever. This one's over, and you can move it along, do the math. I was about to text y'all, look at me, and look what happened.
Getting Duke there. Oh, man. I mean.
Dang Duke.
It was one of those things. I think
I'll take
everyone
the hit
thought.
for the rest of the
Sure.
country.
Yeah, there you go. Yes. You put it out on the line, and thanks to you, the country rejoices with Duke not being in the national championship. But I don't think you're alone. I think everyone thought Houston was going to wrap that up. I mean, again, 25-8 over the last 8 minutes and 2 seconds to secure that win. A really, really impressive second half performance by Houston. Well, we need to get to another break. Really excited. When we come back from this break, we're gonna break down the national championship game tonight. We're also gonna get to Big Four all time for Houston and Florida. But before we do that, let me remind you about our great 5 o'clock sponsors. It's Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Jaguar Bluff City has been the premier Jaguar dealership for the greater Memphis area since 1984, and their talented team is ready to help you find your next perfect vehicle at unbeatable rates. Swing by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City today and check out the new 2025 models like the 2025 Range Rover Sport, the 2025 Range Rover Velar, and the 2025 Defender. Test drive the Range Rover Sport, where luxury meets performance. It's a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility, with options ranging from 360 horsepower up to 635. It's also available as a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle with $7,500 federal tax credit when leased with approved credit. Take a look at the Range Rover Velar, powered by mild hybrid technology and enhanced with the latest well-being features and fully connected entertainment system. The Range Rover Velar is the ultimate luxury compact crossover. Purchase yours today and get special 4.4% for 72 months financing available with approved credit. Don't forget about the Defender. Available in multiple models to fit your needs, the Defender is built for the modern explorer, and Jaguar Bluff City is offering special interest rates for 60 and 72 months on various models. Give them a call, 877-259-6169. Go online at jaguarbluffcity.com. Head out there, test drive these vehicles. 6335 Wheel Cove, just off of Quince, for Bluff City Jaguar. Well, let's get to a break. When we return, we'll break down tonight's national championship game and get to our Big Four all time for Houston and Florida. That's next on Sports Time.
Service director of Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more
the place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
There's an institution in East Memphis that I love talking about. It's the Spirit Shop at 4848 Poplar Avenue, right down the street from Clark Tower, and it looks like a log cabin. It's been around Memphis since 1969 with a family-owned, friendly, knowledgeable sales staff that is just a wonderful place to go. I love going in and talking wine or bourbons, and they've got such great selection. So if you've not visited the Spirit Shop in a while, it's been remodeled. You'll love what you see when you need spirits. Tell Eddie Wollo said hello.
UFC 314 is headed to South Beach. It won't be all glitz and glamour, but the stars will be out. Don't miss any of the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of UFC. It promises to be another banger night of fights, especially the featherweight main event between two evenly matched fighters. First time, just pick something simple like a fighter to win and make your pick. It's that simple. And if you're new to DraftKings, cool, listen up. New customers, all you have to do is bet $5. $5, that's it, to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. So step into the octagon with DraftKings Sportsbook. You just download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, takes 90 seconds. Download it now and use the code HERD. That's me, H-E-R-D. For new customers, get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Join the University of Memphis Athletic Department as they host the inaugural Power of Girls in Sports Clinic sponsored by FedEx. Held in the Lori Bolton Family Basketball Center Saturday, April 12th, girls 3rd through 6th grade will join Tiger female student athletes and staff to learn life skills, build confidence, and develop a healthy lifestyle while participating in sports. Admission is free and the deadline to sign up is Monday, April 7th. Availability limited to the first 200 girls. Sign up at gotigersgo.com/PGSC.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery instead of dependable service and no long-term contracts. An easy choice. Call Jeff Menas today, 901-382-2363 or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Good afternoon. T-Dot's helping with a couple of accidents. Busy out here where you would expect 240, especially coming past Airways all the way out to 385. It's starting a little bit heavier on 40 East at Germantown Parkway. All that traffic making its way out towards Fayette County. Weimer's Jewelry is your diamond engagement ring headquarters this coming bridal season. Go by and see them this week at Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant Brett with you live and local inside our Family Leisure Studios as we got about 30 minutes left in today's show. And we got to talk about the greats for both Florida and Houston, our big four all time for both of these teams. Who wants to start? Brett, you want to get us started?
I will. You know, if L.J. Cryer wins tonight, he'll be the first player to ever win a championship on two different teams.
Yeah.
I don't know if that becomes the norm, but we're going to have, I think it happened college football and college basketball a little more frequent. And he's already participated in a Final Four with two different teams. For a long time, the answer to that trivia question was a guard forward type at Indiana 76 and then in 78 at Duke. Not our friend Bill Bender, but Bob Bender.
Bob, all right.
Yeah.
How about that?
I don't know if it had been done before. Yeah. Obviously, L.J. Cryer has now done it. Do you think anybody else had just joined in participating in a Final Four on two different teams with this wave of transfer?
I doubt it. I mean, maybe, but there's certainly none that come to my mind.
Before we get into the past, how about a look to the future? Okay. 2026 NCAA tournament winner odds are out. You ready?
Oh my gosh! All right,
Duke 10-1, Houston 12-1, Louisville and Purdue 14-1, BYU 16-1, Alabama, Arkansas, Auburn, UConn, Kentucky 18-1, Kansas, Rock Chalk Jayhawk 22-1, Florida, Michigan, St. John's, Texas Tech 25-1. A whole host at 33-1 that includes Tennessee. 50-1 Indiana and North Carolina. 50-1 North Carolina. Say goodbye to Hubert Davis if that happens. Texas 66-1 with their new head coach. LSU in a must-win year for McMahon 75-1. Maryland new coach O'Buzz 75-1. Ole Miss 100-1. Mississippi State 100-1. Memphis Tigers with Butler, Clemson, Georgetown, Minnesota, Nebraska, Notre Dame, with the rest of college basketball almost at 200-1.
All right. Well, Memphis has how many players on their roster right now? 5, 6, man. That I think Memphis's odds will change a lot before the start of the
I knew Matt Rule to get Nebraska back. Crown champions.
Oh, man. Well, Brett, credit to you for knowing that Nebraska won the crown.
I heard Greg say it this morning. I didn't know it. I heard Greg give the note.
So credit to Greg, I guess. Yeah.
Complete credit to Greg and Eli.
I think I watched 30 minutes total of the entire crown tournament. I just did not care at all.
That may be high tops in the country.
It might, but it felt like a chore to even watch 30 minutes of it.
Big Four all time. I'm going to start with Houston, and it has two members of Phi Slamma Jam on it. Number one all time is Akeem Olajuwon, and it will be in 100 years. Number two is the Big E, Elvin Hayes. 3, Clyde Drexler. 4, I really considered Rob Gray, kind of considered maybe 1 or 2 off this team, but I went with late 70s guard Otis Birdsong over Rob Williams, even though Rob Williams was on a Final Four team in 82.
Wow. My list is the exact same.
As is mine.
Wow.
A group lock. Well, maybe that's more
on Big Four. I don't know if that ever happened.
Maybe that's more reflective on Houston's basketball history. I don't know.
And it starting with Louis Dunbar, late 60s, through about 85, 86, then nothing.
Yeah, nothing. Absolutely nothing. I do have an OLI for Marcus Sasser and Jamal Shed, but those are just OLIs.
I think deserving. Yeah. I thought about Shed.
Yeah, 2 good
Landon,
players.
So same, everybody?
Yeah, exact same.
Yeah, exact same.
Paste. Same spots and everything.
You agree in 100 years it'll still be Akeem?
Oh,
no doubt.
Absolutely. I mean, this is one of those few lists where I don't care what happens, Hakeem will still be number one.
And I'm going to play along for everybody at home. So I was trying to think, live in person, I saw Akeem 82, 83, 84 every time he came to Barnhill.
Yep.
I saw him in 83 in 2 games at the Southwest Conference Tournament at Reunion Arena. So that's 5. In 84, I saw him in 2 games at the Coliseum in the NCAA tournament, one of them against Mailman.
Whoa.
So I saw him in person about 7 times in college.
That's incredible. So you got to see the greatness, what put him at number one.
And I think it's hard to quantify, but I think my favorite 30 for 30 ever is on Phi Slamma Jamma, really and those guys out looking for Benny Anders.
That's a really good and 30 for 30.
The recruitment of Benny Anders, Jimmy Counts from Memphis, from White Station High School, a long time in Northwest Arkansas, a prominent doctor. He was really wrestling whether he wanted to coach or not. Was assistant coach for Coach Eddie Sutton, and he told the story that they went in with papers in hand. Benny Anders had committed to Arkansas over the phone. They had him just come down, sign him. They go down to Bernice, Louisiana, and they walk in. He said he knew they had trouble when on the dining table.
Brett, are you there?
Yeah, I am.
We missed the end of that story. On the dining room table, what was on the dining room table?
Exxon credit card with Guy V. Lewis's name on it. Jimmy Counts said he looked at Coach Sutton. He said, "We got trouble.
We got big trouble here." That's hilarious.
All right, y'all fire away with Florida.
I'll start with my Florida Big Four. OLI's got to go to Nick Calathis. What a player. And Memphis's Chris Chiozza deserves an OLI.
What about Teddy Dupay?
Well, I don't have
What
much
about
on
Mike Miller?
Teddy. Well, Mike Miller definitely deserves an OLI, and shame on me for not giving him one. Number 4 for me, Udonis Haslem. Oh, UD. I mean, obviously we know him for his longevity in the NBA.
Mr. Heat.
Mr. Heat culture. But he was a terrific Florida Gator. I mean, what he did at Florida, really, really impressive. Number 3 for me, Neil Walk. Did not have much on Neil Walk before today, but a heck of a player. He is number 3 on my list. Number 2, Joakim Noah. And number 1, Big Al Horford.
Neil Walk, the answer to the trivia question, and he was a good, serviceable NBA player for the Phoenix Suns, but he was the number 2 player taken in that draft after the Suns lost the coin toss for Lou Alcindor.
Oh, man.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and the Bucks won it.
Oh, the coin toss.
Yeah.
It gets you 50-50.
Landon, Gators?
All right, my Gators are vastly different. Not vastly, but they are a little bit different. At my number 4, I went with the guy who played the most minutes and has the most threes attempted and made at Florida, and Kenny Boynton. Kenny Boynton coming in at number 4. My number 3, I chose. Number 3, I chose a guy who's second in points of all time and only one of 3 Gators to surpass 2,000 points scored in Florida history with Ronnie Williams. My number 2, I know he had a little bit of trouble while he was there, but Vernon Maxwell, Mad Max.
I went back and forth for a really
He did have a lot of trouble, but
he got his job.
Well,
yeah, but
I went
still,
back and forth on Vernon.
Still doesn't take away the fact that he was an incredible player with Florida.
And a great Houston Rocket, Vernon Maxwell.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is for college only.
Yeah, college only. And because of that, my number 1 is Neil Walk because he was Florida's first All-American, 2 times doing so, and led the nation in rebounds in '68 and 19.8 per game and 20.8 points per game over his entire career, and led Florida, even though it was in IT, to their first postseason tournament.
How about that?
He was a great college player, and again, more than serviceable, really adequate, but forever haunted by you're not Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Right, yeah.
You're right.
Just impossible to live up to that. And one of my first memories, and back in the day, the SEC game of the week would usually come on Channel 5 like at 12:30.
Okay.
Sometimes it would be 12:30 and the Missouri Valley game at 3 and vice versa.
Sure.
And when Florida would come on, the hairiest man alive was Neil Walk.
Really?
No doubt.
Wow.
No
Okay.
doubt. And I'm just going, man, look at that guy. All right, for me, for Florida, I don't know how to really segue from that. Number 1 for Florida, Al Horford. 2, Joakim Noah, MOP of a Final Four. Another MOP of a Final Four, number 3, Corey Brewer. And number 4, he's going to be MOP tonight, Walter Clayton.
Wow. Whoa. Okay.
And that's my pick tonight. I'm for Houston, but the Gators win.
Wow. Okay. I love it. Already put Walter Clayton in there. I mean, I said if they win tonight, he's in my top 4. But you going out there and just planting that flag a little early. I love it.
Florida with a colorful basketball history, playing at Old Gator, Gator Alley Arena, now the O-Dome. And I think easily, no, I don't think there's a debate, number 2 all-time SEC basketball behind Kentucky.
Definitely. And I think this shows the difference between Florida basketball history and Houston basketball history. We were all the exact same on Houston. We were all different on Florida. And, a lot of guys that both of y'all named were guys that I was really going back and forth on should I have them on my list or not. And so, that is very colorful history, really, really impressive history for Florida. And obviously that history can grow tonight.
And go make a Final Four appearance under 3 different coaches. Yeah. Lon Kruger, 94, impressive. Then what Billy Donovan did, and now Todd Golden.
Yeah, it's been really impressive. And Todd Golden, I mean, we talked about him. I remember when he got the job at Florida, and we were saying, this coach, really impressive. Maybe he can do something at Florida, and has certainly lived up to expectations so far. He's surpassed expectations so far at Florida. So you have Florida tonight. I'm going to stick with my pick pre-NCAA tournament. I'm going to go with Houston. I just think a little more physical. I think if they can win that front court battle, I know Todd Golden did an interview, I think it was yesterday, where he said, if there was a worry for the game, it would be, what Houston does on the boards. If they can win the rebounding battle, if they can get those second chance opportunities, I think it's a physical, low-scoring game, but I think Houston wins it tonight. Landon?
I'm going to go with the team that knocked my team out, Florida.
All right, so 2 Floridas and a Houston. We'll see how it all plays out tonight, but it's going to be fun. I'm really excited for this matchup.
Next Big 4 pick will be first Monday Night Football game?
I believe so, yeah.
Because the NBA doesn't really fall on a day like that, on a Monday at 5:30.
No, so yeah, it'd be Monday Night Football, I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
How about that? It's going to be a while. Not that long, but it's going to be a while. So, this was fun. Kind of bring it out and, do Big 4 for Houston and Florida, and we'll get back to it. Obviously, a staple for our Monday Night Football pick and preview. Let's go ahead and get to our final break of the day, and when we return, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Crunch Time.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Spring is really one of the best times of year for sports and visiting Bell Tavern, Memphis' perfect downtown neighborhood bar. The Bell Tavern is a sports bar, but with the beginning of baseball, the stretch run for the Grizzlies, and everything else that's going on, there is simply no better place to be than Bell Tavern. One thing people say all the time is that they have made more friends at Bell Tavern than they have at any other bar, and that's because Bell Tavern is a grown-up bar where people treat one another with respect, and that's how you make friends. You go to a friendly place and find out what you have in common, like, say, Bell Tavern.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roofing. Did you know there are so many roofing companies in Memphis that I don't even know them all? So that begs the question, which one should you choose? So I thought I'd give you a little background about me. My grandfather was a World War II Marine. My father worked for the University of Memphis for nearly 30 years. My mother, a pianist at Raleigh Baptist Church. Seems like forever. I went to Brownsville Road, Craigmont, and Bartlett High School, class of 81. We support the local school systems, youth athletics, and believe in what St. Jude and Le Bonheur stand for. I'm a Tiger and Grizz fan. The point? Memphis is my home. Five-Ash Roofing will be around if you ever have a problem with the service we provide. Five-Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical, with deep local ties in our community. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing is what we do. We're here for you. He's coming. Here we go. Surprise! Your table saw broke. Also, the warranty expired weeks ago, so you need to pay for a new one out of pocket.
Basically, no small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Oh, and the replacement part you ordered doesn't fit, so it's completely useless. What a waste.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Pools, and more pools. Yes, it is pool time at Family Leisure. Family Leisure is already booking pool installs, so you need to buy now and get on that list. 24-foot pools start at $19.99 install. Liners are starting at $2.99. You're going to need some pool accessories, so they're all up to 20% off. Not quite ready for a pool? That's fine. Get a 5 or 6 person hot tub starting at under $7,000. You can also go for a swim spa or perhaps a cold plunge tub. Those are now $2,000 off. Get patio furniture up to 50% off on select sets. Buy your pool now. Get on that install list. Mention this commercial, and your install is free. It's underlined in the in bold print, so you know it's big. It's pool time at Family Leisure. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Corky's barbecue. Cooking it up. Down home way. Hickory smoke flavor like a good old day.
Hey, y'all, Jimmy Stone on here with Corky's Barbecue. Catering is our specialty. New Beans and Trusted Corky's to cater their events for 40 years. Because we make it easy for you and delicious for your guests. Whether it's 50 people or thousands, our experienced team comes to your location.
Exactly, and I can guarantee.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director of Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Tito's handmade vodka is America's favorite vodka for a reason. From the first legal distillery in Texas, Tito's is 6 times distilled till it's just right and naturally gluten-free, making it a high-quality spirit that mixes with just about everything. From the smoothest martinis to the best Bloody Marys, beyond the bottle, Tito's has gained a reputation for giving back, teaming up with nonprofits around the world to serve its community and do good for dogs. Make your next cocktail with Tito's and learn more at Tito'sVodka.com. 40% alcohol by volume, mainly 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
This is pretty cool, and we're just getting started, so.
Spanning the globe.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskell.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
Well, Brett, what I learned today, we haven't talked much baseball today, obviously with all of the basketball action going on, but Toronto locked up Vladimir Guerrero Jr. on a 14-year, $500 million contract extension. This had kind of gotten a little ugly. He had set a spring training deadline for the two to work out a new deal. They failed to get anything started, and he said he did not want to talk about it while the season was going on. It had gotten to the point where I believe it was last week at some point after a game, a reporter asked him, have you or your agent had any conversations with Toronto about maybe continuing towards working to an extension? His reply was something along the lines of, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not paying attention to it. Maybe they're talking, but I don't care at this point. And so it was starting to look like it was going to get ugly, but you definitely have to give the Toronto Blue Jays a lot of credit for getting this done. Now it's what can they do around him? Because we know Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is great. He's been there. He's had great seasons. But the Toronto Blue Jays have struggled to have any team success. With now him locked up for 14 years, can they build around him? Because obviously he is a piece that a lot of franchises would like to have at the center. Now can Toronto do something with it?
Tonight, the Blue Jays playing at Boston against the Red Sox. What I learned, the Houston Cougars saved us from crowd shots of Mikey and Mickey K again tonight. Wish CBS had stuck with that camera shot and gotten their expression after the Dukies threw up all over themselves. Only Duke fans are sad. Shira, 3 years of loaded teams and no title. Mike Krzyzewski in his first 3 years, no NCAA tournament appearances, but a little tougher takeover from Bill Foster than what Shira got from him.
Oh, no, definitely tougher. But you're right. It was when everything was going good, it was a whole lot of shots. It was a whole lot of, hey, look at them. But then right when things started going bad, it was no more at all. What I could have done without today, it is the hire for Texas A&M. They go out and hire Bucky McMillan from Sanford. Look, I don't know what Bucky McMillan will do as the head coach of Texas A&M. It certainly is one of those kind of flashy hires that we talked about late last week of, a guy that has had success in the mid-majors, hiring him. He runs a fun style Bucky ball. It's going to be really fast. But one thing that I did hear some people say about Bucky McMillan is at Sanford, in that area where he was a legendary high school coach, he had a lot of backing, a lot of fun day. Yeah, that's right, at Mountain Brook. He had a lot of NIL coming in to his program and really just got the best of the best at kind of that level. Can he do the same at Texas A&M? Maybe. They certainly have the NIL money. They have the money to go out there and buy up the best roster, but kind of how it happened. It went from Chris Beard.
Wait, there was NIL in high school basketball in Birmingham?
Oh, man, welcome to the day and age of NIL. It is out there. But I think more of what I could have done without kind of goes to how this played out for Texas A&M. It was all, Chris Beard's our next coach. Chris Beard's our next coach.
Had him.
And then it was silence for 3 or 4 days until it was finally announced late Friday night that Bucky McMillan would be the next head coach. Kind of weird how it played out.
Think about it, for Ole Miss fans can take a lot of pride in this. There's 16 teams in the league. Mm-hmm. Well, Chris Beard's at one school. He used to be at one in Texas, and he's turned 2 down in Arkansas and A&M. That's 25% of the league.
Oh, yeah. It's very impressive what they're doing.
Could have done without John Morant out again Saturday night, but no problem for the team. And the team, frankly, they're used to being without him and not able to count on him. He finally has equaled the games played of Jake LaRavia, which is 47. Jake LaRavia's 47th game, February 5th.
Huh, yeah. Well, that's...
Ja, everybody's counting on you.
Yeah. I don't even have a response to that. That is a mind-blowing number. Where are you beaming tonight?
San Antonio, Alamo Dome, home of the zany Alamo Bowl, but tonight it'll be basketball for all the marbles. Houston leads 2-0 all-time against Florida. They met in 70 and 73. Tonight will be impossible for Florida if they fall behind Houston. Houston's too tough.
Yeah, no, you are absolutely right. I mean, maybe the easiest beaming option is today with the national championship tonight. Beam me to San Antonio. Brett, you gotta love all the UTSA logos we're seeing everywhere down in San
Antonio.
Host. I mean, the official host.
Our
sharing
road
it with Incarnate Word, I think. I've seen a lot of Incarnate Word logos as well. So, but no, it's going to be a lot of fun tonight. Florida and Houston, these two teams. We knew all 4 number 1 seeds, but now these 2 teams making it to the final games. How's it going to play out? Both had to come back in the Final Four. Can they do? Can one of them do the same tonight and win from behind? We will see.
11 baseball games starting earlier today. Mm-hmm. St. Louis and Pittsburgh right now. First place Mets, Landon's first place Mets, hosting Miami. 8-2 Rangers on the north side against the Cubs. And late night, San Diego at the homeless A's.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun night. The college basketball, a little bit of MLB out there as well. Only 2 NBA games tonight, but it is all eyes on San Antonio for the national championship. Again, an earlier tip time tonight in San Antonio. 7:50, the scheduled start on CBS. But that's all the time we have. Enjoy your night. We'll talk to you again tomorrow afternoon.
Of Memphis for lunch and dinner at Elwood Shack. Choose from house pastrami, corned beef, smoked turkey, roast beef, roast pork, beef brisket, and full shoulders. All